Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey, it's a Thursday Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Here we are, same crew as Tuesday. Back, we'll be doing Browns defensive projections from Mike Clay again. We got Mikey McNuggets here. He's going to give us not buy, sell. What is it again?
Keep, cut, trade.
Keep, cut, trade. We love that segment. We're doing a basketball version. Mm-hmm. We got our faces for the defensive projections there.
Indeed.
We'll do that again. We'll get to the Guardians later. We'll get to some Cavs possible transactions later. But first we got to talk about cell phones, because I was just telling these guys right before we went on air, I got a new cell phone, right? And I'm all excited because when you get the new cell phone, the battery life is fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At least for the first couple of weeks, right? I'm seeing how long I can go unplugged until 20%. That's when I plug it in. But there's my new phone, right?
Yep.
I have had it unplugged now for 51 straight hours. And I'm still at 31% battery life. And I use it a lot, except here's the funny thing. And Jason,
get you a case.
10 a.m. I'm getting
11 a.m. and I'm plugged in and charging.
I know. I ordered my case. It's coming today. But Jason's charging his phone already at 10 a.m. Now, Jason probably uses his phone more than I do, but I use it a lot. But you made the point that you got the shakes when you didn't have it recently.
Oh, we've reached the point in society where it's like you feel like you're naked when you don't have your phone.
When I go, the only time I don't have my phone with me is when I go to Little League games. I leave it at home. And last night I said to my assistant coach, I was like, "Yeah, I don't have my phone with me." He's like, "Really? How do you not have your phone?" Like, he couldn't believe it. He was stunned that I didn't have my phone. And I think, we lived, people our age, we lived a lot of our life
20
no
years.
phones.
20 years.
Hey, you know, so crazy. Somebody was trying to make the argument. Like, there's a bunch of kids. There's a Twitter account that tweets this stuff out. The most interactions and the fights between students and teachers happen because of teachers taking their cell
phones. Yeah.
And somebody said, a teacher should not be able to take their cell phones because a cell phone is a necessity or a lifeline. Like, you have personal information in there. You have your parents need to get a hold of you. It's basically phones are it's like somebody taking your wallet now.
Yeah. But it's crazy because when we were kids, I remember I would just be out all day. My parents had no idea where I was.
No,
we would never do that.
It's also
now.
a totally different world than
it
what
is.
we lived in
but
then.
Is it, or do we just know more about what's going on?
I think
is it actually different, or did we just not know all these horrible things were happening?
That's a very good question.
It's funny you mentioned that about the phones at school because my oldest, I went crazy because I got really mad with a teacher when my oldest son was in school, told him put his phone away when he was texting with me and try to take his phone. I'm like, I'm dad. I pay the bill. If I'm texting him during school hours, there's a very good reason why I'm texting him. You don't take my kid's phone if it's his friend. Take it.
Yeah.
If he tells you I'm texting my dad, you be quiet and turn around and go back to the board and continue teaching.
I do too.
I was hot.
Now,
hot.
A kid could lie.
He could.
A kid could lie. Maybe not your kid.
I mean, if you in high school, you just would hope that, by the way, in Japan, in other countries, Asian countries, they have their phones and it's no problem because it's just you're an adult. Okay, I got my phone. We have phones now. I don't think you would take a call in the middle of the show, but if it was something that was important enough.
Well, we have.
Yeah, we have.
You could. Yeah.
Hey, matter of fact, I talked to a bill collector on the show, right?
So, I talked to my wife.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of crazy how, phones have evolved. And just think about it. You used to, if you wanted to call somebody, it was a shot in the dark. You had to hope that they was at home at the right time, and then they picked the phone up, and then or answering machines. That blows my mind.
Before answering machines, you could call them all day and not get a hold of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And now we're at the point, watches. Remember Knight Rider when Michael Knight would talk, Kit, come get me?
I know.
And we thought how crazy that was?
Now you got it.
I can pay for a meal on this watch.
Bro.
I can make a call on it's incredible.
I just got my son an Apple Watch for his birthday.
Yeah.
And the other day I was he was playing with his friend, and I'm like, I got to go find him outside to tell him. But I'm like, oh, no, just call him on his watch.
Yeah.
We have that for our
And
kids.
he can only talk to me and his grandparents and a couple other people.
We have those for our kids. It's the GPS in there. You
Right,
see where they
you
are.
know where they are.
I can text them at
So,
school.
You can't call nobody on these watches.
No,
These
not that
watches different.
No,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
You're not going to call nobody.
Yeah. All right, enough phone talk. We're all obsessed with phones. Let's get to baseball. Well, not baseball, but betting talk, which is mostly baseball with me. And I lost yesterday. The Red Sox crapped the bed.
Yeah, I actually put a free bet I had from MGM on that bowl, so thank you.
Thanks, Bull.
For not winning me money there, but I'm going to ride with you today. You have two bets, and they're both brought to us, as always, by Bet Rivers Sportsbook. This is the place
Good job
to
mentioning
be.
another sports book during this.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
well done, Mike.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Way to produce.
Well, hey, Bet Rivers didn't give me the free bet yesterday, but they will probably today because now I mention it and they usually hook me up when I do. So, Bet Rivers Online Sportsbook is the place to be for every single game. Right now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers Sportsbook because when you use the deposit code SPORTS, you receive a second chance bet up to $500. Get in on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like baseball, hockey, basketball to help you win big. Check them out at betrivers.com. Download the Bet Rivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boosts.
All right, I got two podcasts I wanted to promote. Yesterday's podcast, you can still listen to that, obviously, where I talk about ways to make the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball better. None of these things will happen except for maybe the NFL suggestion, but would make all three of these sports significantly better than they already are, and they're already good.
Did you take my suggestion to cut the playoffs in half for the NBA?
Yes.
That's how you do it.
Yeah,
That's how you make it matter.
No doubt. The NBA would be regular season would now have meaning.
Absolutely.
It would just change.
And they'll never do it.
Never do it. Never going to happen. Also, on today's podcast, which will be out some point in the next hour, I interviewed Hall of Famer Rick Barry, who not only did a great job breaking down the playoffs, but he hates people that can't make free throws. It sickens him. He's still mad that Shaq never shot the underhanded free throws just because it would look stupid.
Yeah.
He said he could have made Shaq an 80% free throw shooter.
Wow.
Could you imagine what the number Shaq would have put up?
What do you do if he's an 80% free throw shooter? What do you do?
Impossible. He would have been
the
literally impossible to
The hack
stop.
of Shaq goes away.
Right. You
Goes
know,
away.
that's so funny. I had to go back and check. Like, this is weird. Like, I'll say about a month ago, I go back periodically and just get into the YouTube time machine just to like refresh myself on how good people used to be. Man, and Richard Jefferson, which you talked about him being a good media dude. Richard Jefferson says, "Hey, no disrespect to anybody doing it now, but Shaq was a problem.
He's unstoppable."
He said, "Yo, go back and watch when he was playing against us in the Nets." He said, there was nothing.
Right,
you
but the
could do.
fouling, that was the only thing.
That was the only
free throws.
If he was in them free throws,
but he was guys are too prideful to shoot them underhanded because they think it looks embarrassing.
Yep.
It wouldn't have been embarrassing if he was making 80%.
right.
He should have done it. He should have tried it.
He
He should have tried it. But anyway, so check out that interview with Rick Barry. It'll be out some point today. For the bet, I lost yesterday. First loss of the week. I got two for you today. The Cubs minus 117 against the Mets. I think it's the first time I picked the Cubs all year. And here's why I like them. First of all, the Mets are playing lousy baseball. Now, the Cubs were not playing particularly good baseball either, but they've gotten hot with the bats in this series. Number two, the anomaly that is Kyle Hendricks. He's coming off the injured list to pitch this game against the Mets. In this modern Major League Baseball, Kyle Hendricks is a unicorn because he does what everybody else doesn't do. And he's a control pitcher who doesn't throw hard. And the Mets team is a feast or famine team. They're a bunch of sluggers. They're not good. It's hard to homer off Hendricks. Now, it is a little risky because he's coming off the injured list and hasn't pitched in almost a year. But he's fresh. He's gotten some good rehab starts. He's gotten better every time, so I like the Cubs today. And then the safe bet is always betting against Oakland. You got to bet them on the run line because they're too big a favorite straight up. But at minus 1.5 runs, they're only minus 108. So it's basically even money if you bet them with a run and a half. Logan Gilbert pitching for the Mariners. He's very good. It's irrelevant who's pitching for the A's because they all suck. It's the worst team I've ever seen. I said they would break the 62 Mets record. They're on pace to do it. And remember, that was an expansion team. Mm-hmm. They are 10-41, the A's. 10-41. Remarkable. Mariners win by a number of runs tonight. So there you go. All right. Let's get to some football talk, Mike. What do we got?
Yes, we do. So, Browns open up OTAs.
Yeah.
Now, granted, and I want to preface everything with this, these are currently voluntary OTAs. Voluntary. It's a
No
big
need
word.
to preface that. We all know that.
86 of the 90 players
Yeah.
currently on the Browns roster showed up for day one of OTAs.
Yeah.
The 4 guys absent, you can take tag board full, Steve. Joel Bitonio, Nick Chubb, David Njoku, and Myles Garrett. Big deal, little deal, or no deal that these 4 as a whole, or any one of these 4 in particular, is not there for voluntary OTAs.
Guys, for me, it's a no deal. I don't care at all. If it was a guy who was coming off a significant injury, maybe, or it was a young player, maybe I'd care a little bit. Would I rather them be there than not? Sure. If I had to choose, I'd rather the guys be there. But to me, it's no big deal. These are all veteran players. I guess if you cared about anybody, it might be Njoku. It's a little weird to me that Nick Chubb is not there because I feel like he's always at these things. But in the end, I don't care. It's a 0 deal for me.
Dundada, 0, nothing burger, Minimoski at the minus, bro. Like you talk about 3 of these dudes as borderline Hall of Famers. You got Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, Joe Bitonio. I'm not worried about them in their least. Actually, to be truthful, they earned it. If I was Kevin Stefanski, I would come out and say, listen, you know what I told him? Yeah, coach, we're missing Njoku and we're missing Bitonio and Myles Garrett and Chubb. No, I told them to stay home. They deserve it. We got enough young guys that we need to take a look at. And you know what? We're going to get an opportunity to see some good defensive ends. There's a position for running back that's available. Jerome Ford, I like to see what you're talking about. Hey, listen, DeJuan Jones. We've got a lot of different Nick Harris. Man, let me see some of these new dudes. I don't even care if they'll come to the next one. Like, I know what they're going to bring to the table.
I'm a little surprised by you guys. I think this is a little bit of a deal. And listen, I don't want to go crazy because when we had a raging debate in this town for years over OTAs with Odell, and Odell was missing them.
Yes.
And I was in your guys' camp of
Yeah.
this is a nothing burger. Like, what are we doing here? But that was a receiver, and that was a little different. I don't care about Bitonio. Personally, I think Bitonio is following the J.C. Treader boycott. Bitonio and Treader are still very good friends. Treader was president of the Players Union and pushing. If you recall, these are not necessary. It's risk of injury. I think Bitonio's fallen in line with this guy. Fine, whatever. You're a guard.
Yeah.
Njoku, whatever. Chubb, I think it's maybe tied to the contract. This could be his last year in Cleveland. We don't need to get into that
so
now.
Myles Garrett is the one.
Myles Garrett.
Why? Because of the new players on the D-line?
If you want to be a leader on this team, if you're a franchise pillar, you need to be at this. And it's a new defensive coordinator. It's a new scheme. There's a lot at stake this year. There's a lot of jobs at stake. Your future of your career is at stake because if this thing goes sideways, who knows where this goes? Like, this is a really important season and a really important offseason. And if you want to carry yourself as a pillar of this franchise and as a leader of this franchise, set the tone. What would we be saying if Deshaun Watson was not at OTAs? What would you say?
Yeah, I'd have a different feeling about it.
You'd have a different feeling.
That's
Well,
true.
Myles Garrett's the quarterback of the defense, and if he's going to be the face of the defense and he's the leader, he needs to be at these. And listen, there's a lot of OTAs, and in the past, he's been at some of these, and he's missed some of these. This is the day that's open to the media. Come on, show up. And maybe there's going to be others in the future. Maybe he'll be there next week.
Right.
But if it's not asking a lot, and I think because of the position you play and the role you hold on this team, this is different. This is different than Nick Chubb, even Chubb. This is certainly different than Joel Bitonio. It's different than Odell back in the day. You're the face of the franchise, one of the faces of the franchise. You need to be at these. And I'm not going to say it's a big deal, but it rubbed me the wrong way that Myles wasn't there.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what's the deal to you?
5, 4, 5. And it's just it's the little things, right? It's the little things about Myles that this is another one of those where it's like he's such an imposing figure and he's so dominant, and you just feel like, man, you just feel like there's just something more that you could get. And this falls into that category for me of like, man, just be there. Just show up. Why not? Just show up. If you're going to be the face of the franchise, then be the face of the franchise and show up.
We've talked about, I think you make some fair points. We talk about Myles Garrett, as great as he's been, having that one more gear that only a few players can get to, that he can, or at least we think he can, and he hasn't. And everything is set for the first time in his career. He's in a perfect position to reach that final level, if you will, because the talent around him is the best it's been. The defensive coordinator is the best he's had.
the help around him. He has depth now. He doesn't have to be in for 80% of the snaps.
It's there in the big picture. I think if he might even be there today. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what the plan is.
Right.
If he's at the rest of the offseason work and he's healthy for training camp, we'll look back. Who cares? It wasn't a big deal. But to some small degree, I think it's a fair point with him specifically.
Especially the fact it's a new system, it's a new scheme.
Yeah.
Like these are, and Kevin
and it's all new defensive line. He's playing with different guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Kevin has talked at length in years past about the importance of this stuff. And how they didn't have it during the COVID years, and then they didn't have it because everyone followed Treader's lead and nobody showed up. And these are really important times. And it may not seem like a big deal in September, but these are still important practices. And again, I don't care about Bitonio. I don't care about Chubb. I don't care about Njoku, whatever. But Myles is different. He holds a different position on this team, a different importance to this team. I think, especially on the day when the media is there and the cameras are there and it's going to be talked about, you need to be there.
I think one thing that we got to understand too is he was coming off injury. He did get hurt in a Pro Bowl. He dislocated his toe or something.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's like a major injury or anything. I just think for Myles Garrett, this happens a lot. I kind of compare Myles Garrett a little bit to guys like Wilt Chamberlain and even to a certain extent LeBron James, in that they are so much physically gifted as far as his traits, like what he can do on the field. He's faster than everybody. He's bigger. He's stronger. He bends in ways that a man that size should not be able to bend. And he got in a car accident, destroyed the car, and he got out like nothing happened, like almost. Like, you got to think about it.
It's his fault that this happened.
But that just goes to physically, it's almost to a point where we be feeling like he's indestructible. Like this is Myles Garrett is some sort of mutant. Like he's like a X-Men or something.
But I think that Jason's point is it doesn't even matter necessarily if he practices.
Yeah, it's
just
presence.
be there.
If you mentioned LeBron,
Yeah.
If the NBA had OTAs, you think LeBron would be there?
Probably.
I can tell you 1,000,000%.
Probably,
he would be there. He would be there. Now, it's a different sport, but Myles carries himself as the LeBron of the Browns. He thinks he's the LeBron of the Browns, so then act like it.
And I don't know about you guys, but like, you said that those three guys, well, forget Njoku, because he's not as important to the team as the other guys. Bitonio, Chubb, and Myles Garrett have been the three best Browns, right? They're all guys who could be in the Hall of Fame someday. Mm-hmm. For me, and I'll admit, I don't know this to be 100% true. This is just my feeling on the situation. It may be totally unfair. And maybe it's because Myles Garrett is the freakiest of freaks that I feel this way. But in my mind, Joel Bitonio and Nick Chubb do everything they possibly can to be the greatest player they can possibly be. And for me, Myles Garrett, like those guys do 100. And to me, Myles does 95. Now, that may be completely unfair. That's just how it feels to me. It's just an impression. I don't know.
I feel like, so the thing with Myles Garrett is, kind of going back to what I was saying, he's so good that sometimes you diminish just
that may be. It may be.
Level that, like, people compare him to TJ Watt, right?
Yeah.
And as a pure pass rusher, skill for skill, pound for pound, it's not even close like that as far as physical traits. He's not. You might look at Micah Parsons, right? That's the closest I can say that's like in the same area. But even with Myles Garrett, he's bigger than Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
And he moves the same way. Sometimes I think that when we look at those numbers, and he put them numbers up so many times in a row, like he's giving you 12 to 17 every year. Think about how many other guys opposite him, right, couldn't get to 10. Look how many people can't get to 10 or 9. Jadeveon Clowney was the number 1 pick overall. He has some of the same physical gifts. To get 16 sacks is not easy. Now, if he wants to be known as the Aaron Donald, and he's told us he wants to go to a new level, then it's not that much to ask for. And it is relatively fair to say, if you want to be that,
right,
we need to see you in the tackles for loss. And I've been critical of that as well. What are you doing in the run game? Tackles for loss, different things like that. But sometimes I do think Myles Garrett gets we're a little more harder on him because he's that physically gifted, and he's more physically gifted.
And more is expected of him.
Yeah,
right.
So that's just what it is. Can he get to another level? Yeah, I think he
needs
can.
to. He needs to. He needs to.
And there's more depth and more talent around him to
Yeah.
where you would think that he won't wear down.
Yeah.
You know, they've asked so much of him in terms of the number of snaps that he's played that hopefully they can scale that back a little bit this year. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Myles and Ogunjobi were over like 90% of snaps. That's outrageous for a defensive lineman. You know that.
Yeah,
that's
If they can get that down to the 75% level with Myles
they
this
should
year,
be even better.
that will hopefully sustain him a little bit longer and give him a little bit more stamina in the long
And
run.
he's had, as indestructible as he seems, he has been banged up. He's played through most of it, but he's been banged up over the years, and it's affected his play.
I give him. I know I just roughed him up a little bit.
Yeah.
I give him so much credit because he let them down with the car accident last year. He let them down.
Yeah.
But he knew it, and he sucked it up.
Yeah, and he played through it.
And I watched him not even be able to get his shirt on after games. I watched him need help because he couldn't raise his arm and get his shirt on after games, and he was still out there. And I give him full credit for that, for fighting through when you did it to yourself, and you know you did it to yourself, so you did everything you could to not let your team down a second time and play through it as much as you could. Full credit for that.
Yeah.
What I do love is that Myles Garrett was not there, and Za'Darius Smith was very vocal.
Yeah.
He even spoke to the media. And we had Matthew Collar on last week and said all of last year he spoke to the media twice.
Wow.
Twice.
And he already spoke to the Cleveland media.
And then Dalvin Tomlinson was out there looking very large.
Hey, listen, Dalvin, I had to go back in the time. I had to look, man. Jason, you said it. This is why when people talk about it and they say, I got my Kool-Aid skits. I do the Duke and knee jerk. My knees is out today. We might have to shake them a little bit today too. But pound for pound, let's not act like they don't have thoroughbreds up front. They have some nice pieces and parts up front. And I get excited as a defensive lineman because I'm seeing all of these skill sets, man. I had to go back and go look at Maurice Hurst from Michigan. Maurice Hurst at Michigan was dominant.
And he was good with the Niners.
He was
first 2 years.
good with the 49ers.
Yeah.
So, not saying all these guys are going to come in and be some sort of Aaron Donald clones, but the great thing about it is, yes, Myles Garrett wasn't there, but think about if Myles Garrett wasn't there and we had the same roster that we had last year. You'd be losing your mind. Like now you got all these guys, Obo. I'm glad these guys are going to get an opportunity to show what they can really do. And I'm interested in seeing some of these guys and what they can bring to the table.
The bottom line is we all love and respect Myles Garrett. He's a great player.
100%.
But when you're that talented and you've been that productive, and he's been very productive, the expectations for him couldn't possibly be higher. And so maybe that's a little unfair, but I mean, that's what I would want if I were a player.
It comes with the salary he's making.
Yeah,
it comes with the salary. It comes with the status.
Yes.
It comes with the number one pick.
Yep.
It comes with wanting to be wanting to go to Hall of Fame.
He talks every year about wanting to be the Defensive Player of the Year. Well, let's go get it.
This is what comes with that.
It's set up for him to win it this year.
Absolutely.
If you get 20 sacks, Myles Garrett, hey, bro, you don't never got to show up again. Give me 20 sacks this year.
Yeah, we don't need. Yeah.
And a strip sack against Josh Allen in the divisional round to seal the deal, and you ain't never got to show up.
There's so much on the line this year.
Yeah.
There's
no doubt.
so much at
Everything, everybody's job. All right, Mikey, let's get the faces going now.
Yep, let's get the faces going. We're going to move on to our defensive projections for the Browns
speaking of Myles
in the upcoming
Garrett.
season.
Speaking of.
By ESPN's Mike Clay. But first, this segment's brought to us by Lorain County Community College. Your classes, your future. Register now for summer and fall classes. You can learn more at lorainccc.edu. And with that, are your faces ready? We're making a little slight change from Tuesday, though. On Tuesday, we did reasonable or unreasonable. Today, we're going to do happy face if you believe player X will have a better season than ESPN's Mike Clay's projecting, and sad face if you believe it will be a worse season than ESPN's Mike Clay is projecting. So we got a bunch of defensive players, a bunch of stats. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got over a dozen. I think we got 13 of these. So we'll go through them pretty quickly. We got plenty to get to, but we start with the player we have been talking about for the last 10 minutes, Myles Garrett. According to ESPN's Mike Clay projection, Myles Garrett will play close to 900 snaps, have 61 tackles, and 13 sacks. And before you ask, G, he did not predict tackles for loss, forced fumbles. These were the only projections for certain stats.
How many tackles did Myles Garrett have last year, do you know?
60.
So that's decent.
I say he does better because he better do better than that. I want more than – it's so funny because for most players, 13 sacks would be a hell of a season. For Myles Garrett, that's not good enough.
That's not Defensive Player of the Year.
No, I want 20 sacks. I want at least 17 minimum. He's got to average a sack a game minimum.
I was thinking 18. 18, I like that. 13 is way too low. 61 tackles is low.
He's going to do better than that. That'd be a disappointment, those numbers.
And by the way, they got other pass rushers, so you can go ahead and
he probably factored that in, that some of these, they'll cannibalize each other, and some of these other guys will take away his numbers. But
you know what? It shouldn't. Their sack totals should just go up as a team, way up, because they had nobody.
And they had nobody last year.
Or because they stop you on second down, that they have now more third and longs that you have to go for instead of being second and medium, right? Like you got guys up there stopping the run, so now they have to throw. But 13 is that gets you Pro Bowl or something, but that's not what we're looking for.
No, and listen, you're playing in the AFC. There's a lot of teams that are throwing the ball. The AFC in general, the NFL, but especially in the AFC with all these big time quarterbacks that you're facing in 12-17 games against AFC teams. Now the Steelers and Ravens tend to run. I get that, but it was interesting. I don't know if you guys saw this quote. Did you see the quote? Anybody see the quote from Lamar Jackson yesterday?
I did.
He talked about Todd Monken, who is the new Ravens offensive coordinator. He expects to be running a lot less this year. I don't remember the exact quote, exactly what he said word for word, but basically it was, I don't expect to run.
Well, good. We'll take that.
And now, I think the truth is we all know that your instincts are your instincts. So if the play breaks down, Lamar's going to run.
Right.
Hey, Lamar.
Right? Most quarterbacks look to throw, get out of the pocket and throw. Lamar gets out of the pocket and runs. However, the way he's talking, it would make sense, and you don't want him running as much because even though he's great at it, you're going to get hurt eventually.
Him to injury.
And so I would think there'll be a lot less designed runs for Lamar in this new offense with the new OC, but he's still going to play breaks down. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Hey,
we're still going to see that.
I heard this story before. We hear it every year. Every single year, people tell you the mobile quarterbacks ain't going to be running. This is the RG3
but
story.
He's another level. Okay, so RG3. So Lamar Jackson has obviously the most rushing yards from a quarterback through 5 years. All right, Cam Newton is second. How many more yards roughly do you think Lamar has rushing than Cam Newton through 5 years, through the first 5 years of his career?
500.
Maybe 1,400.
You almost nailed it. 13 and change.
Wow.
I mean, think about that.
Wow.
More than the second guy.
He ran more than Michael Vick ever ran.
Yeah, it's about 275 yards more per season. But most quarterbacks don't even run for 275 yards in a season.
So this sounds crazy because I spent all season be like, they need to give Lamar Jackson his money.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. When RG3 did the same thing, see, when you have designed runs and then you can do other things off of it like play action, you get wide open looks. Like, if he wants to come out here and just sit back and go through his progressions, that's not his strong suit. No. Now,
he's a better thrower than RG3.
He's a better thrower, but it's hard sometimes. Like people when they hit you up with, I'm going to be a drop back quarterback.
No, he can't be that.
That's more difficult than people understand.
They could throw it. I think they'll run it a little less, but not like a huge difference. I don't buy that. But anyway. So in the end, there's going to be a lot of passing. It's a passing league. There'll be plenty more sacks this year. There better be, or the Browns are in trouble. Go ahead, Mikey, number 2.
Next up is Za'Darius Smith, Myles Garrett's counterpart on the other end of the defensive line. According to Mike Clay, he'll play about 70% of the snaps, 43 tackles, and 8.5 sacks.
Can I do neutral?
I was just going to say, I think that's what do we do for right on?
I think it's like about exactly what he's going to do. I don't think it's going to be better or worse. Like, I could see him with one more sack I'm going to do that same as Jason. I'm going even. I think that's basically what he's going to do. You think it's going to be better?
I don't believe you.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, 8.5 sacks.
G's going to have 78 sacks.
Dude, 8.5 sacks for your number 2 guy is really good.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I can see him with 9. I can see him with 10. I can see him with 8.
7.
You know.
6.5, 7 even.
Ooh, he got that
somewhere in there.
He's gonna have a single digit out there. I saw him talking. My knees is
Here we
shaking
go.
low key. Listen, Za'Darius.
G's going to have 75 sacks on this Browns defense by the time this segment
many
You
is
know
sacks
what
you
it
got?
is.
How many sacks you got?
I got him at 11.5.
Okay.
11.5 sacks, and you know why?
So we're up to 30.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but listen, we ain't even got to the backups yet. Obo, you ain't even got to him yet. Look, this right, 11.5, with that 18 for Myles Garrett. Listen, we're not even going to use him like that, man. I was in the lab the other day, and I'm going to give it up to him. Mike Pettin, I was in the lab looking on the internet. Mike Pettin did something. He had him in what was called the rover position. And so, by the way, Schwartz, if you're listening to this, go ahead and implement. You feel free, because Za'Darius Smith says, "Do you like to rush in the middle?" He says, "I'm not going to tell you too much. I can't give everything away." But Mike Pettin for the Green Bay Packers put him in a position called a rover. In the rover position, you line up anywhere you want, and you can take any gap you want. No responsibilities as far as contain, no responsibilities as far as you need to line up at.
Yeah.
And they put him in that position, and he picks the guy and does whatever he wants. And they make it right on the back end. He was dominant. He would just pick out the center and be like, "Yeah, I'm going to stand up over you."
I actually think Mike Clay's projection of his playing time is a little high, because I think at his age, and with having Obo on the team,
I thought that too.
I think he'll play a little less than that. I think they're going to want to keep him
60%.
fresh.
I think 60.
Yeah, I think he's in the 60%, which is why I think 8.5 sacks or somewhere near there is good. Like, yeah, maybe he gets 10 sacks. That would be great.
But let's be clear. I just want to say one more thing. For him giving 8.5 sacks and only is playing 70% of the snaps, I agree with what he was saying there in one respect. He has injury issues. He had the knee last year.
Right.
He had the back before.
Right. And that's why I'd play him less. You signed Obo, you gave him good money. I'd play him less, keep him fresher. Go ahead, Mikey.
Obo's next, and this one I think we're going to disagree with. I don't think you guys are going to like Mike Clay's projection for Obo Okonkwo. 43% of the snaps, 42 tackles, and 3.5 sacks.
No, I don't agree with that.
Come on, man.
That feels super low to me.
G. Bush can fall on three sacks. I could jump on a pile real quick.
Nah, no one on the Browns fell into 3 sacks last year. So let's be careful about saying anyone can do that, because literally no one besides Myles Garrett did it last year.
I'm expecting much more than that. I mean, I'm expecting him to play a lot. I think he's going to play
young OG,
50, 60, close to 60% of the snaps, maybe even higher.
And a lot. And by the way, you got to understand, he will be in on all third downs.
I got him with 6 to 7
I
sacks.
was just going to say that, 7.
Like
6 to 7.
I like that 7 range. I'm not going to get greedy. 8 sacks is a lot. I got him at 7.5 sacks. 7.5 is respectable. You got to think about it. They're going to run a Greyhound package where you're going to have Za'Darius Smith, Myles Garrett. I think they'll stand up a lot. I think Obo will be in that mix. Dalvin Tomlinson, maybe a Maurice Hurst if he can get himself together. I believe that they're going to have multiple defensive ends on the field on third down, and you can't run away from everybody. So he's going to get a lot of sacks just because you just can't run away from Myles Garrett and Za'Darius Smith.
What do you say, Jason?
I have Garrett up to 37 sacks now for the Browns.
There we go.
Meter's still running.
We have the counter going. Look, we have the G. Bush sack counter going.
How many sacks did the Browns have as a team last year? Can you look that up real quick?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. But
because I got
Myles' number and add 3.
Right.
Or 4.
Well, there's a bunch of guys had like 1 or 1.5. But I'm expecting Myles Garrett to have.
They had 34 sacks last year.
They had 34 as a team.
I got 37 between the 3 ends.
But I'm expecting those 3 guys to get at least 34 between them.
Yes.
I don't think that's too much. If you had 18 for Myles, say 9 for Za'Darius is 27, and then 7 for Obo, that's 34 right there. I don't think that's unreasonable.
No.
It's high but not unreasonable.
No. I'm expecting from those 3 guys 30 to 35, somewhere in that range. And so that's just from the ends. Last year they got that from the whole team.
Yeah.
Well, tackles is where we head next.
Yeah.
And G. Bush, we are keeping a tracker of how many sacks you are projecting here.
Yeah, here we go.
We're not going through every defensive end. We won't go through every defensive tackle, but we will go through Dalvin Tomlinson. According to ESPN's Mike Clay, he'll play about 65% of the snaps, near 50 tackles, and 3 sacks. And I see Jason giving us the Dumbo ears, which means he thinks Mike Clay is pretty spot
accurate.
on.
I was thinking in my head 3 before the graphic went up.
Yeah, I was 3. I'm with 3. He not gonna get all that. Like, I'm not gonna have him looking crazy at 7 sacks for a D tackle.
I actually got him a little higher than this because I think he's going to play more. What percentage of the time?
So he based it off 1,000 snaps. So
Okay.
65-ish percent of snaps.
I think he plays a little more than that, and I got him with 4.5 sacks.
That was where but my knees was already shaking.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be over there really doing the most with my knees.
Not significantly different than what they got, but I got him a little higher than Mike Clay's prediction.
If they give him 4.5,
yeah, you're even.
I'm even.
I'm pushing on that.
Even Steven, I'm a little higher. Okay.
All right, next up.
It's hard for me to grade tackles. I'm really just looking at the sacks.
Tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. And these are straight projections from a fantasy football guy, but gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
And it is his number and his model. It's pretty in depth. Like, this isn't just him throwing numbers at a
he's
wall,
not just throwing out random
yeah.
numbers. Mike's really good.
Next up, Jordan Elliott plays 56% of snaps, 33 tackles, 2.5 sacks. He had 3 last year.
I'm not a Jordan Elliott guy.
I think we're all in agreement.
I don't even think
we're all low.
he might not even be on the team.
I think he's on the team, but
I think he plays less than that.
I'm not expecting much out of him.
How many percentage of the snaps he gonna play?
56. It's out of 1,000, so just
I don't want him to be the starter. I want one of these other guys they brought in to emerge.
He might be the starter, actually.
No, he might.
He might be next to
that
next to
second
Tomlinson.
defensive tackle starting spot is up for grabs.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is.
it is.
It's who's going to get hopefully somebody earns it instead of they all suck. So
You got to pick someone.
I am not I can't Jordan Elliott is my version of JOK to DeQuell.
Yeah.
Like, this guy, I mean, his grade, he'd be in the 40s, the 30s.
stinks.
He's just not good.
I got him with under 40% of the snaps, and I have him with half a sack.
How many sacks did he have last year? Did he have?
He had 3. He was one of the, no, he had 2.5.
2.5.
Taven Bryan had 3.
Higher than I thought.
I can't believe they had.
Actually, I lied. Jordan Elliott had 2. I gave him a half.
Give him a
He-
half.
I got him with just a half a sack.
Can you? That's almost. Have somebody ever did something so egregious, even though they made up for it, you go back and be like, I can't believe you did that. The fact that they got Taven Bryan and Jordan Elliott and Tommy Togiai and was rotating them boys out there. Yes, Andrew Berry, you made up for your mistakes, but I'm still like, I'm looking at you side-eye, like.
Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
We think he made
On
up for his
paper, they
mistakes.
On paper.
We think he's covered it.
All right, next.
Next up, the rookie defensive tackle, the big kahuna, Siaki Ika. 21% of snaps, 16 tackles, 1 sack. Thoughts? Tough to really grade this one.
I mean, that's neutral. I mean, who the hell knows?
I had him down at 0.5.
So you're at 41 sacks now.
0.5. He's only gonna play first down like that. Like, he might play short
Yeah,
yardage.
who knows how much he's going to play at
Yeah,
all. I mean,
and plus one thing I did hear when he interviewed, he talked about just getting in better shape. Like, that's one thing they gonna understand. Like, getting in better shape. People don't know in college. Like, every level you go, there's like people that are better than you, but it takes more energy because you're trying to play hard every play. In college, if you're bigger than somebody and you playing the whole game, you can take 4 or 5 plays off. Like, you just like, I'm just be in my gap this play. But when you trying to fight for a position and you trying to keep you really going at it with top of the food chain, you gotta be in shape. So he said he got to get in better shape. So we'll see how it goes. But that's about right.
This next one is the one I'm most excited to see you guys give your thoughts on. It is JOK, who we have as a collective unit, and I'll include DeQuell in this, have been down on, but Mike Clay, super high on entering next season. According to Mike Clay, how about 86% of snaps, 117 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and 1 interception?
Lower.
Thoughts?
wow. I mean, that would be a fantastic season for him. 117 tackles?
I can't.
The Browns would be the Browns would be. That's AFC Championship talk right there.
I have DeQuell in my head right now.
I know.
I can't.
However,
I'm hoping.
I do think I've said this before. I
Yeah.
think like this system should play to his skill set perfectly.
Yes, it is.
If Jim Schwartz can't find a use for him, then he's useless.
But that's too far of a bridge for me to cross.
Yeah,
to go that high.
I got to say worse than that. I'm with you.
This is tough.
JOK's got to show you something.
He got to.
I got no faith.
Because he be doing a lot of stuff. I'm gonna say it's a little worse than that. I'm gonna give you that. But here's the thing. I think his sack numbers will go up because I think what you need to be using JOK is they need to use him as a blitzer much more. Just for the simple fact that his speed, he needs to be on quarterbacks like that. I think that Joe Woods did him a disservice in putting him in coverage.
But he doesn't have him projected with a lot of sacks, but that's a lot of tackles.
That's a bunch of tackles. And to be honest, I don't think he's going to be on the field like that on rundowns like that. Like if it's a running play, I got Taki and what's in there, Anthony Walker in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be able to stay. And by the way, can he stay healthy that long?
Yeah.
86% of the snaps?
It's a lot.
Well, you mentioned Anthony Walker. He's next up on our list. About 65% of snaps for Walker, 94 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception.
All right.
That's pretty close.
I think that's right.
He might hit 100 if he's healthy. He might.
I'll take that, by the way.
I'd sign for that.
I'll take that from Anthony Walker.
I'd sign for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, we're all neutral.
We're on agreement. We'll move on. Heading to the secondary now. Let's start with Greg Newsome, excuse me.
Oh, we didn't get the Taki, huh?
There was not projections for Taki, but we will go to Greg Newsome.
He's got him playing every snap, basically.
Essentially every snap, and getting his first career INT.
Nah, bro.
I hope he's better than that at throwing out the first pitch.
Nah, bro. He's not going to play every snap. Like, he got him playing every snap, bro. Like, that's not – he's a nickel guy. Maybe he's playing 89% of the snaps.
Oh, sorry. I'm making noise doing this.
Yeah, Steve was like, what the hell is that?
I think he
don't play all them snaps.
I think the rest of the numbers are fine. I just don't think he's going to play that much.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, he'll play a lot, but not 99% of the time.
I'm going higher because interceptions. I think he's going to have more than 1.
I just think
Yep.
it's like the league leader had like 4 last year.
I think it was 6.
Oh, was it 6? Guys are not getting interceptions like they used to.
Ain't nobody jumping these routes like that.
Yeah.
Like,
This is a big year for him. This is a big year.
Yeah.
4 players had 6 picks last year.
How many?
4 different players had 6 picks, and 10 had 5 or more.
Okay.
So.
All right.
maybe we just don't get picked.
Okay.
Well, Greg
That's still
Newsome
not a lot.
has literally never had a pick.
I mean,
before
I'm
in his
not
NFL
saying he's going
career,
to have 8, but 1
3?
field, 2 to 3.
picks.
Okay. 2 to 3.
All right. I'm going neutral on Newsome.
I'll go neutral if you want to say he's going to get 2-3 picks, but yeah, it's kind of he only missed the snaps. So, he only missed the snaps, so I go push on the rest of it.
All right, next up, Denzel Ward, 97% of the snaps, 69 tackles, half a sack, and 3 interceptions for Denzel.
See, this is hard because I don't think there's any chance in hell he plays 97% of the
all.
snaps, but the interceptions feel like they should be a little bit higher.
Yeah. So
I want to see what Denzel Ward is in his defense. I don't, because last year they had him playing off coverage a lot, which I don't think that's his strong suit. There's no way in hell he's playing that many snaps. He's gonna miss 3 games. He always does. He's gonna miss half of the hamstrings is already coming. You know what it is. He's gonna have a hamstring issue in camp. I don't think he's gonna have no sack. If they're gonna bring pressure, it'll be from Emerson or from the nickel guy. 3 interceptions is, I think, somewhere 3 to 4.
I think it's funny that you got a cornerback with a half a sack. Half a sack. It's like your projection is that he blitzes and gets there at the same time as a defensive lineman.
Right. Because he's not going to bring him down by himself.
I'm with you guys. There's no way he plays 97. I mean, if he did, that'd be fantastic.
If he plays 97% of the snaps, he's going to have 8 or 9 interceptions.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think the snaps and interceptions don't fit.
Right. They don't.
If he's going to play that much, I'm expecting 5-6 interceptions at least.
And especially if you talk about defensive linemen and ramping up more pressure.
Right. There's going to be more pressure, which means the quarterback's rushing more.
I don't know how to grade this. Here.
I'm going to do this because I think
overall he's going to be better than those numbers.
The fact that we've had multiple, I'm not quite sure, happy or sad, means these are.
Yeah,
we think
overall
these
he's done a good job. I mean, the only thing I found him to be way off on, to me, was Obo.
Yeah, it's the only. Well, and
even with the
JOK
offense.
was a little
JOK was.
high.
Yeah,
projection.
but no, even with the offense, I didn't think he was way off on anybody. I thought he was a little off on Watson, but overall, I think these have been pretty good projections.
I think he's been off on the snaps. Like
Snap percentage.
Well, I don't think he's projecting injury into any of this, which is why
That's true. He's
it's
just saying if they play the whole year.
Assuming everyone plays the whole
That's
season.
fair. That's fair.
I do believe that is where it's coming from, and that kind of leads us to Martin.
Well, then that
Emerson
makes
Jr.
sense because Denzel Ward would play that percentage if he doesn't get hurt. Yeah.
And it's like fantasy projection. You don't project, hey, guys, going to miss
That's
3
true.
games.
That's
so
a good point. Yeah.
Out of 1,000 snaps, if they played the whole season. Martin Emerson's up next. About 70% of the snaps, 57 tackles. There's that other half a sack, so maybe we get a double
that doesn't make any sense.
blitz.
What, they're going to blitz?
Cover zero. Everybody's coming.
They're blitzing at the same time?
Obo had 3.5, so I'm just saying.
No, but a defensive lineman is much more
interceptions.
likely to get a half a sack than a corner.
I
So
agree. I'm
Denzel has a
just
half
adding
and Martin
up
has
here,
a half.
yeah. What do you
Same
think?
play.
2 interceptions, 57 tackles.
That's about right.
I think that's about right.
I think he's going to play way more. Why would he only play 70% of the snaps? I mean, he's an outside
that's
corner.
true. I actually didn't look at that.
But we said we was not talking about snaps, right?
Well, but
I'm being realistic.
But we're not talking about snaps in terms of injury. So if there's no injury, I'm expecting him to play 98%.
So let's say in a base defense, a 4-3.
Yeah, but he's a starter on the base defense.
See,
Well, but who, so Newsom's out?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not saying. I'm just asking because Mike Clay in these projections clearly had Newsom.
Well,
as
he's
the-
wrong on that because Martin
There you go.
Emerson
Okay.
is a dude.
Martin Emerson
he's
is a
going
starter.
to be.
I'm not arguing. I'm just giving you guys
yeah.
where these numbers.
I think people, because Emerson is a 3rd-round pick and Newsom was a 1st-round pick, it's kind of like they've kind of still got him on the same, but they're not on the same level.
I think Emerson could be really special.
But the reality is you play 3 corners now most of the time.
Yes.
You know?
So if
Emerson's going to play more if he's healthy, Emerson's going to play more snaps than Newsom.
That's why I was like, Newsom. If Newsom plays 89% of the snaps, that's about right.
Yeah,
like,
I would expect that to be Ward. If they were all healthy, Ward the highest percentage, then Emerson, then Newsom.
All right, I got to do the same thing as last time because I do agree the snaps are low. I don't know what the upside down means, but it means I agree with one and not the other.
Next.
It's Bulls' favorite player, Juan Thornhill. 971 snaps.
I got no beef with Juan Thornhill.
I said he's your favorite player.
He's just, again, you can't tell fans and media members, like, again, with his comments yesterday, again, I love that he's positive. I love that he wants to change the culture. He's like, well, Chiefs fans expect to win. Browns fans don't. We got to have that. Well, Chiefs have won the freaking Super Bowl. Of course their fans expect to win.
Browns threw a parade for a winless season.
Yeah, how do you expect Browns fans to expect to win?
I said he's your favorite
Juan
player.
Thornhill showed up there after they had already been good. So, yeah, of course they have a more positive attitude.
I wasn't poking the bear there. I was just saying. You guys.
I think these numbers are accurate.
These are spot on.
I think they're spot on. This is what I expect from him.
That one.
I actually expect him to, you know what? I actually think he's going to do better than that. I think he'll have more tackle. I actually think he'll have more tackles, but not 3 interceptions.
He better not have more tackles. We start getting to the range that we did last year with the safeties. You got problems.
I think he'll have a few more than that.
I think.
But I think it's pretty dead on.
He got some good ball skills. I think he may have around 80 tackles, give or take. Maybe that half a sack. He's a DB, but he will play the majority of the snaps, and this looks good.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty spot on.
This looks good.
Yeah.
We have two final safeties, then we'll move on to our next topic. Grant
Delpit.
Delpit. Also, very similar numbers here to what Thornhill. More tackles, 94 tackles, but also half a sack and 3 interceptions. He had 4 last year.
I don't see both safeties having 3. I don't see 6 interceptions from the 2 safeties.
I see Grant Delpit with a sack and a half, maybe 2 interceptions, but the tackles look spot on.
Yeah, I mean I think overall this is right there. I think it's right there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you're getting 6 picks out of the 2 safeties.
No, probably not.
About two maybe.
I'd take 4.
So he's got from the 3 starting corners and the 2 safeties. He's got what? How many interceptions did he have for Ward? 4?
3 for Ward.
So
1 for Newsom.
9, 10.
2 for Emerson.
So 12 interceptions from the 5 top guys.
And we have McLeod. McLeod's our last one on this list.
Well, but he's not going to play that much.
Okay,
what does he got him
Let's take
for?
the last one, Steve. McLeod hasn't played about 50% of snaps.
All right, so he's got
with an
13 interceptions from the secondary, essentially.
And then
I don't got a problem with that one.
1 or 2 from linebackers, a couple from the linebackers.
Yeah, I mean, you might get.
He actually, to be truthful, I'll give him credit for this. This is about.
I mean, he did a really good job.
Yeah,
I think they're all.
I think that's a little high, but who cares? We're splitting hairs now.
Yeah, I don't know that he's. I don't know that he's playing 45% of the
I
snaps.
agree. I don't think he is.
He's old.
Grant Delpit is known to miss a game too.
Yeah, but again, he's not factoring. If you're not factoring in injury,
Well, I am.
Well, then he might play that percentage because there'll be games that Delpit won't play.
Okay,
or
even
whatever.
if you miss 2 games, you're still not playing 45% of the snaps for the year.
You usually don't play more than 2 safeties that much in a game, right? I mean, you play multiple corners, but
Schwartz could get exotic though with some
I
different
guess so.
packages. They have versatility now.
I just think he's really old.
He is. He was productive last year though. He
But
really
he
was
was
productive.
productive.
I think Rodney McLeod will be more beneficial to this team Monday through Saturday than he will be on Sundays.
But I do think he'll be productive in a limited role. But I don't expect him to play 45%. But I think at 25, 30% of the plays he can be productive in that.
Yeah, sure.
In that vein. But I also agree with you that he'll be very helpful, helping the guys in the secondary learn
During
the
the
system.
week. Film sessions,
coaching them
getting
up
guys lined
in a
up,
way.
helping on the practice field.
Just seeing that, just running through those names,
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned about the Browns' defense.
I'm still concerned about the linebackers.
I'm a little still, but
I think they got a ton of talent on the D line and the
Hey,
secondary.
after what we saw last year,
Yeah.
until they do it, I'm very concerned. Until we see proof on the field.
But the reality is the D line should be good and the
Yes.
secondary should be good.
100%, yes.
Linebacker is still a big question mark.
Yes.
We don't know that any of those guys can play.
But as we
Really.
talked about before, if you have to be weak in one spot in a Schwartz defensive scheme,
Right.
linebacker is where you want to be weak.
Yeah.
You want to be
Most
strong
of the time
up
you're
front
only
and
playing
in the
2
back.
linebackers anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mikey.
All right, real quick, we're going to do one more very, very, very quick football topic, then we'll move on to some Cats. But this next thing is brought to us by the USFL. Family-friendly fun for everybody. They are home in Canton the next 3 weeks with Boogie. $10 tickets. Check them out at USFL.com. Real quick, 5 minutes tops. The NFL announced this week that they are now allowing Thursday night football games to be flexed. So theoretically
Just late in the
speaking,
season.
just weeks 12 through 17. In theory, that means the Browns-Jets game scheduled for Thursday night could be flexed out of Thursday, or any of the Browns games between weeks 12 and 16 could be flexed into Thursday night with 28 days' notice. Players are very against this. They have been outspoken for a long time against Thursday night football games in general. What are your guys' thoughts on the ability to flex in and out Thursday night football games, and does it have any impact on a team's overall outlook on a schedule?
Jason?
I don't like it from the player's perspective. I understand why. From the fans and television, it makes perfect sense because we've had a lot of dud Thursday night games, and all they care about is ratings and money. They don't care about the players. They've made that abundantly clear, and the players keep rolling over during negotiations and don't do anything about it. So this is what you get. Logistically, I think it's miserable for teams and coaches to have multiple short weeks. You know, there was a time where it was just you had one Thursday night game and you kind of got through it, pushed through, and then everything else went sort of back to normal. Now to be forced with potential multiple Thursday night games, I think sucks for the teams and the players. But from the league's perspective, it's better ratings and more money, so that's why they're doing it.
Hey man, you know, sometimes it's all about the way you coach it up. There was a coach and a team psychologist that came in and talked to some of the guys, and this is later on after my brother was playing, and they talked about making sure that you were mentally prepared for certain things. Like if you are playing on Thursday night and you think it's going to be a burden, it's going to be terrible, like you're not going to go out and play well. And there's a lot of teams that go out on Thursday night and don't play well because they don't embrace what it is. Like at the end of the day, you know you're going to have to play on Thursday night. And the coaching staff has to not put negative thoughts like, hey, you know, this sucks for us. We're going to have to, you know, we got a quick turnaround. People shouldn't even be saying that. What they should be doing is trying to manage it and trying to put stuff in on 2 tracks, whether that means, hey, for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be preparing for our opponents, but we're also going to be putting in place for the Thursday night game in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, so we're doing multiple things. Maybe, hey, guys, we're not going to be running you. We're not going to be doing certain things to keep you fresh. But you just have to manage it because, like Jason said, like, it ain't going back.
Yeah.
They're not about to stop, so you just got to adjust.
By the way, this barely passed. It needed 24 votes to pass. It got exactly 24. It was 24-8. The Browns voted for it, so you can blame Jimmy. I think the Bengals were the only team in the division that voted against it. The Giants voted against it. I think the Jets did.
I mean, we've had some really bad Thursday night games.
Okay,
Yeah.
to me, guys, this is a no-brainer. This is great, okay? But I think a lot of people's first reaction is, oh, my God, what if you bought tickets to a Sunday game and now it's a Thursday? Okay, first of all, the majority of people don't go to games. The majority, it seems sometimes we're so obsessed with the people at the games. The majority of football fans never go to games. Never. Most football fans never go to games.
That is actually true.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, we all watch those night games most of the time. I want a good game. I don't want to see some shitty game late in the year. The Thursday night games a lot of times suck. Okay, yeah, for the players it can stink. It's not like you're finding out the Sunday before that it's moving up. They're going to have to decide it, I think, 3 weeks before. They can't put the same team on there too many times. I think it's only one that can be added. So it's not like you can add that many. And not every player hates Thursday because yes, it's a short turnaround. However, the Thursday also gives you a kind of an extra bye.
It's a little mini bye.
Brandon Stokely, I was talking to him recently. I was like, how much do you hate Thursday night games? He goes, I love the Thursday night game. He goes, maybe the running backs hate it or maybe the linemen. I loved it as a wide receiver because I felt like, all right, I was ready to go by Thursday, and now I got another. He thought of it as another bye. So, to me, yeah, there's a small percent. A lot of the players don't like it, but they knew the deal. They knew Thursday Night Football. They've agreed to everything, as you said. I don't.
They roll
at
over
this
every
point,
time.
listen, when the players didn't know the negative side effects about concussions, when that stuff was being hidden, yeah, I got the sympathy for you. The players know the deal now. They know the dangers. They know the Thursday night. They agreed to that. They agreed to 17 games. And you know what? It's going to go to 18 games at some point, and they're going to agree to that too because they make more money when these things happen, and they want more money. So that's it. To the 1% of fans that are going to get screwed because they can't go to that Thursday night game and they bought tickets for a Sunday night game, tough noogies. Hey, the rest of us want to watch good games.
And that's why, after you said all that, I don't have no problem if a player says, if it's voluntary, I'm voluntarily not showing up for that. Because if you want to go to 18 games, 7, I'm not going to be no team captain.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be Captain Kirk trying to save the world.
Yeah.
I'm going to show up when you tell me to show up because that's what you pay me to do.
And by the way, something I talked about in my podcast that is the one rule they might change in these sports that would be so much better for the NFL and for the players, and it would be this I think would help TV also. I don't know why they didn't do it when they went to 17 games. I've been screaming about this for 2 years, and if they go to 18 games, I feel like they have to. You got to have double bye weeks.
I don't. It's a no-brainer.
And you'd make the season longer. That's more product for the TV market.
That's a no-brainer.
And less time off between baseball and football.
They had double bye weeks back in the day, and I don't know what the reasoning was for going away from it.
The only argument I heard, Albert Breer once said that the TV networks were worried that there'd be some weeks where there'd be not enough good games. However, right now you have most weeks there's 4 teams on a bye, right? Mm-hmm. Some weeks it's there's like 1 or 2 weeks where it's 6 teams, and then it's mostly 4. Well, if you went to double buys, now remember, you can't. If you went to double bye at 18 games, say in theory, that's a 20-week season.
Yep.
So that's 3 more weeks than you currently. Oh no, right now you play 18 weeks, so that'd be 2 more weeks of product. Now you can't have a bye weeks 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, because it's an unfair advantage for a team to get one that late right before the playoffs, and 2, this may sound stupid, but this is a huge industry. You would totally destroy season-long fantasy football if you had bye weeks at the end of the season because you can't have bye weeks in fantasy football playoffs. It would screw up fantasy football. And like it or not, whether you're not in fantasy is a huge part of football and its popularity.
Yeah, but I don't think they care about that because they don't draw any revenue off it. If it was gambling, if it impacted gambling.
But that is gambling.
No, but the league doesn't get money. The league doesn't get a cut from it.
Don't they have all these deals with FanDuel and all these other things? That's what people do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the fantasy.
So players can't play fantasy football? They can?
Oh, sure they can.
I'll say they can play fantasy. Okay.
I think so.
I mean, it's
I'm
gambling.
sure they do.
Fantasy is gambling.
Well, if you have money on the line, there's leagues that don't have any money on the line.
I see what you're saying. Like, because when you win,
I'm saying the league cares about the league's pocket. That's it.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
But that affects their gambling partners, I think. I think it does. But anyway, I don't think they're going to have buys late in the season anyway. But you could, if you did buys week 4, if you had a 20-week season, and you did buys week 4 through 16, you'd have some weeks with 4, and then you'd have more weeks with 6. Even with 6 teams on a bye, that's still 13 games. There's enough good games there.
Bull, you know what's so crazy as you mentioned this? The NFL is brilliant. what they realize is, all right, as long as we can keep quarterbacks healthy,
Right.
it don't matter about nobody else.
That's true.
And guess
That's all
what?
that matters. That's all that
And
matters.
you can't hit them.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be tired,
Yeah.
and they're gonna be ready to go on Thursday night.
And I don't buy the whole not enough good games to go around, because look at the ratings for slapdick college bowl games.
Doesn't matter.
Against
I
two
watch
teams
all
that
of
you've
them.
never
And
heard of.
Watch them all the time.
The ratings are still through the roof.
Right. NFL gets great ratings for everything. They get better ratings for the draft than most sports get for their games. So, I mean,
They'll watch. It doesn't matter
Yes.
what you crap out on the field.
and with
they
13
will
games,
watch.
there's still plenty of good matchups every week. And the players would be good. That'd be huge for the players to have a second bye. And so it'd be tricky. You got to figure
I
it out.
think you got to cut another preseason game at that point.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
I'd play one preseason game.
And
I mean, the veteran players don't need the preseason.
No.
don't the Browns got 5 this
They
year?
got 4.
4?
4 because of the Hall of
They're in
Fame.
the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But you definitely go down to at least 2.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
It is officially 12, which means it is time to remind everybody the lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is sponsored by Calling Companies Championship. Check them out at Firestone Country Club July 12th through the 16th. Family-friendly fun for everybody, including free concerts, and kids get free admission. You can learn more at colleaguegolf.com. We're going to talk about some potential free agent targets for the Cavs, and these ones in particular have been submitted to us by the good people on the interweb, our loyal viewers, which means it's brought to us by PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions, starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com.
By the way, I think it's I don't know why I'm waiting almost 13 months to say this, but I think in the intro to what is the internet saying, I think it's funny that like one of the main pictures is like smokestacks, which is so old school and couldn't have anything less to do with the internet and modern technology.
That was not
anyway,
one of the very few
good.
things in this show that I did not have a hand in
Right?
creating generation.
I mean, it's fine. I just think it's ironic, if you will.
I'm going to watch it. I didn't even notice it.
Watch this.
I'm usually reading
Here
as
come the
it plays.
smokestacks.
Yeah, right.
That's a 1 second
I don't know
frame.
why that just
1
popped
second
into my
frame.
crazy brain. Go ahead.
All right, so last week, I believe it was last Tuesday, we did some potential free agent targets that I thought were realistic fits based on contract and stuff for the Cavs at the 3 and D position.
Yeah.
And I suggested Dante DiVincenzo, Malik Beasley, and Georges Niang as 3 guys who fit that mid-level exception money-wise
But
and
get
also
nobody excited.
team need. No one got excited. And that's fair because those 3 guys, frankly,
Whoever they use it on, you're not going to get
No, I know.
excited about.
I know.
well, luckily our good friends at the internet flooded my inbox with suggestions saying, oh, this player would be a better fit. This player is a much sexier fit. So we're going to go through some of those suggestions.
Okay.
And we'll talk about their feasibility, their realistic ability, and whether or not it's even plausible that they will end up in a Cavaliers jersey next year. So, Steve, we got 188 not tag board ready. The first player that was suggested to me was one Kyle Kuzma. The issue with Kyle Kuzma is he is a player option this year in Washington for $13 million. And after averaging 22, 7, and 5, I think he's going to cost about $22, $23 million this offseason, significantly more than the Cavs are even possibly allowed to offer. With
He was
mid-level
not a good
exception.
three-point shooter, though.
Hey, he's a
Jason, thoughts on him?
streaky 3-point shooter. He can catch fire.
Yeah, I like Kuzma
I
a lot.
love Kuzma.
I like Kuzma a lot. But they're not going to be able to afford him. He's going to be out of their range.
All right, off the table.
This is crazy.
Well, that was
man.
fast. I mean,
Man,
No,
this is
a lot of these are going to be fast like that. A lot of
Okay.
these are going to be fast like that. Kuzma, theoretically speaking, in a vacuum,
Would be
very nice fit
perfect.
with the Cavs.
oh
actually.
yeah, he's
Very
exactly
nice
what
fit
they
with the
need.
Cavs.
But he's not a great three-point shooter.
I
He's a
mean,
streaky
33% isn't terrible. You'd like to see it around 35.
He's a high volume 33 though.
Yeah,
So
like,
it's
all
not
right.
like he's taking 2 a game and
Right,
he's taking
okay.
7 and a half a game.
He's taking
Yeah.
contested step backs.
Yeah, I like Kuzma a lot.
Dang, I'm
Good
salty,
player.
bro.
He's going to be expensive though. He's going to cost 20
All right.
plus million.
Out of the price range.
Next suggestion. Kelly Oubre, who averaged 20 points per game this year, 5 rebounds. Now, he is a bad 3-point shooter. He is an unrestricted free agent. Thoughts on Kelly Oubre, who averaged 20
The
points on a
tricky
bad
thing
team?
about basketball, when you're looking at free agents and stuff like this, compared to any other sport, like, let's look at the Oakland Athletics, for example. They don't have to have a guy that's good,
No.
statistically. Everybody on the now they have a kid, Esturi Ruiz, their leadoff hitter, who may have steal 80 bases this year. He's a nice player, all right, but they don't have, besides him with the stolen bases, the nature of the sport every player can suck, every player can have bad stats. Same for football. Even with a lot of touches, a running back could get, there was one year, a couple of years ago, where like Rex Burkhead was getting 15 carries a game for the Texans, but he was averaging like 37 yards. He stunk. In basketball, just the nature of the sport, there's going to be on every team, no matter how bad they are, there's going to be at least one guy that scores a decent amount of points.
The Hornets had 3 players average 20 points per game this year.
And my point is, you don't know if those guys are good. If you're on a bad team, especially if you're a guy who's never been that good, and then you go to a bad team and you score a lot of points, yeah, you're not a scrub, but, like, are you that good? Is Oubre that type of guy?
I don't like Oubre as a fit for this team. Shooting. He doesn't fit the bill for the type of three-point shooter that I think they need. I'm out on Oubre.
You're out. Not a good
I
shooter.
don't even know if they can get him.
Could they get him?
It's hard to gauge his market because what you said is spot on. He put up good numbers. He's bounced around on a bunch of teams. No one's ever wanted to sign him long term, which says something about his fit and feasibility in a winning culture. He was in.
Does it? Because people want to sign Kyrie, and he has no feasibility in a winning culture. I know he's a lot better than Kelly Oubre. I get it.
Totally
but
fair,
you specifically said winning culture. There's no winning culture with Kyrie.
He's got a
loser.
ring. And I'm no Kyrie fan.
But he's a loser.
He's got a championship, and he hit the most important shot.
For the first time, McNuggets, I've actually sat here and I'm feeling what people get to that thing where they say, in the NBA, the worst thing to be is middling. And right now, it's smacking me dead in my face because the Cavs are just middling.
No, I don't think they are. I disagree with that.
You think they're better than middling?
Middling is 500 on the bubble of whether or not you're in the playoffs. You're not really.
To me, middling is no legitimate shot to win a title. Like good enough to make the playoffs, but no legitimate chance to win a title.
The Cavs are not middling with the roster where it's at, with the youth of it and the trajectory of where they can go. That's not a middling team. A middling team is a 500 team, like where the Cavs were with Wesley Person.
Yeah.
Like those teams
but middling,
you don't have much of a future, but
do
you're
they
not
have a chance to win a title?
As constituted, no.
I mean, I don't know. Like they're a lot closer than a lot of other teams in the league.
If Mobley doesn't get to that level that we hoped he would,
no, of course not. No, that's
so it can't happen unless he gets there. Because we've seen, like the rest of this team, nobody's getting better, are they?
I mean, Darius Garland better get better with that contract. He better get better. I think Garland has another level or two. Mobley's got a couple of levels to him. Donovan's still here. I know I started this whole Donovan's got a year left, but he's still here. This is still, as down as people have been on the Cavs, they are not a middling team. That's not my definition of middling is a veteran team. You're fighting for the last playoff
All right, so let's
seed.
get rid of the word middling. So, are they a team that can win a title in your mind?
I mean, next year, I thought they were the third best team in the East this year. Like they've got to take a couple steps, but I think they could be in title contention next year. Yeah, I do.
I look at it. If you ask me in a year, you got Donovan Mitchell. It does not look like they're going to be able to keep him. That's just the reality. Now, if you have to lose Donovan Mitchell and you have to restart over with just Garland and Allen and Mobley, that's not good enough. They decided it wasn't good enough when they went out and got Donovan Mitchell, because if they thought it was good enough, they would have just kept their picks and said Darius Garland's going to be great, Mobley's going to be a superstar, and we feel like we're good. But they had to make a decision, and they made a decision they weren't good enough.
The problem is we're not going to know until next year's playoff. Next year's regular season is completely meaningless.
Facts.
Agree with that. And I hesitate to say this because I'm not comparing them to the Warriors. I am not comparing them to the Warriors. I am not comparing them to the Warriors. I am not comparing them to the Warriors.
Did y'all hear what Jason just said?
Go ahead and compare them to the Warriors.
But here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
The Warriors came out of nowhere. Nobody thought they were title contenders. They were a young team that could shoot the ball well.
Right.
The Warriors were the dynasty nobody saw coming. I'm not saying the Cavs are going to have a dynasty. Not saying that. I'm saying the Warriors were a young team with young pieces that fit well together and emerged on the scene at the exact right time because they all hit their peaks at the right time.
And I get what you're saying.
The Cavs are a young team that could be that type of team that hits its stride together, that grows together. They're still young in their careers. I'm not saying they're going to win the titles. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying it's so easy for us to dismiss teams based off of the previous year.
We're down on them now.
Yes, but this is still a young team with a high ceiling.
Funny, right? And we'll see what happens with this Guardians season. We'll talk about them more later. Last year, I thought the Guardians were not going to be very good. I thought they were a 500 team last year, right? And they way overachieved based on what I and probably you and many other people thought. And they had a great season. They went to the playoffs. They almost beat the Yankees. They fell short. Okay. And so now this year, with pretty much the same team as last year, we were all like 90 wins, going to win the division. Now, they may ultimately do that. And I'm certainly not counting them out, especially because this division sucks. I mean, they've lost 22 of 33 and they're 4 games out.
Yeah, it's bad.
Right?
It's bad.
But maybe this team just overachieved last year and they're going to regress to the mean or to what we thought they were going to be last year.
But
and
you said that.
Cavs,
You said that.
Right.
To be fair, you said that in the beginning of this year.
It's possible, right? So, but now the Cavs, to Jason's point, like, yes, right now we're feeling down on the Cavs because they sucked in the playoffs. And the year before, they sucked in the play-in. And so it feels like, well, these guys are never going to come through when it matters. But the reality is that they're a young team. Most of their key players are young. And even though Donovan Mitchell's, I mean, he's still relatively young, but he's been in the league. But he's only played with these guys for 1 year. Now they get a full offseason together. And, yes, the regular season is meaningless, but they might, even with a similar team, with a couple of additions, as the 4th, 5th, or 6th guys, maybe next year they play with more confidence. Maybe next year they play with better chemistry between Mitchell and Garland. Who knows? It could, as down as we are now, and as much as you and I feel like, this team can't win a title, there's still enough unknown with the young players on this team and enough upside with certainly Mobley and Garland that that by the time we get to the playoffs next year, it may be a totally different team, even if the names are not completely different.
Yeah.
Find me some people, McNuggets. You guys, where are the rest of these people at?
Next one's someone Jason mentioned once, and before he mentioned him,
I shouldn't have mentioned him.
yeah, you shouldn't have mentioned him. It's a bad. Austin Reaves.
I shouldn't have
He's
mentioned
going to get $100 million,
people went
and
nuts
he's a
when you
restricted free agent. There's no chance.
It was
he
a
split
flippant remark by me. I shouldn't have said it. He's going to get far more than what the Cavs
God.
can offer.
The Lakers are going to screw up their team. I love it. They're going to get rid of Austin Reaves.
No,
which
they're
is
not.
stupid.
No, they're not.
Oh, yeah. They're going to
No, they're
sign
not.
Kyrie. They're going
No.
to get rid of everybody.
Now,
and they're going to suck. And they're going to trade Kyrie in the middle of the season. That's what's going to happen.
All right. Now, there's a cap to what they can offer Reaves. And without going down too many cap rabbit holes, he may get more than what they can offer. And he's going to take every last dollar. He's come out and said that. Like, this is one shot, and I don't blame the kid. I don't blame him. But they'll do everything they can to keep him, and they should. I never should have mentioned Austin Reaves as a possibility. He's not coming in.
A lot of people also suggested him, Jason, so it was not just you.
But I should know better.
That just goes to show you, McNuggets, you got to develop within your organization. You got to get lucky on somebody that you didn't think was good. And the Lakers, shout out to them. I would love to have him.
Yeah, so just real quick, Jason, want to go into the cap? I'll explain it in 2 sentences. The Lakers could offer 4 for 52. Other teams can offer 4 up to 98 to 112.
Why is that? Usually, usually these things benefit the teams that the players already
he's
on.
a restricted free agent,
But
so
he
they
don't
can
have-
match it.
They don't have his bird rights or nothing?
No, he's a restricted free agent. They can match any offer given to him, but they can't outright offer
I see.
more.
And with where they're going, I think they'll keep him at all costs. I think they're going to keep Austin Reaves.
All right.
It's going to get expensive, but
And
they'll
does that
keep him.
count against their cap if they have to go over and match somebody else's?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how they get Kyrie unless he take a discount.
The
then.
Kyrie thing, it's going to take a lot of
They'd have
gymnastics.
to trade like everybody. right?
No, they don't have to trade everybody, but they would have to. It depends. I actually just wrote about this today in The Athletic. John Greenberg, who's like me and the Chicago version of me, did a back and forth.
He writes all these wackadoodle articles also.
Oh, I write wackadoodle articles now.
No, but when I say wackadoodle, that's a positive. It's like different topics.
Stuff
I like him.
Stuff you wouldn't think
I
of.
like him too. It's like, wow, that's such a weird thing. He wrote about.
So he and I did a back and forth. He's totally against Kyrie going to LA. I said absolutely, it's their best chance at winning the title. So the long story short, they'd either have to convince Kyrie to take less money, which I don't think is happening. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or they're going to have to come up with a sign and trade type deal to get it done. And I think they could keep Austin Reaves and still pull it off, but it would hurt. Like it would hurt.
They're going to lose another guy who's coming up on this list.
Vanderbilt.
What, they'd have to trade Vanderbilt and Hachimura?
Let's go.
We'll see. We're going to get there.
Let's go.
Next up, though, is another interesting guy. How about Max Strus? He's an unrestricted free agent. He was undrafted. He has made $4 million in his NBA career. So just like Reaves, he's going to go out and get the bag. Before this playoffs, I thought he may have been realistic, but he's balled out in this postseason.
He's going to get paid.
And his price tag's going up and up and up.
shot
I'm not
himself.
sure
Right
a
out
guy
of
at
that.
6'5" that shoots at his percentage, plays the defense, comes from that Miami system.
Yeah, I mean,
is going to
you'd
still
love
be in a
to
mid-level
have
I'd
exception.
love to have Max Strus here. And that's just a great job by Miami of finding guys on the margins, developing them, minimum guys.
So good at that.
See that?
Garcia, Strus, Kevin Love. They get these guys that are
Yeah.
minimum guys and become key contributors. Great
Yeah.
job. Oh, and I said the other day, Miami, San Antonio, Oklahoma
Yeah.
City, best run teams in the league.
By the way,
you got to find somebody, boo. You got to find somebody.
Sidebar: do you think Miami or Boston win tonight?
I think Boston wins.
I think Boston wins, but I think Miami wins the series still.
If Boston wins, listen, one of these days a team's going to come back down 0-3. I know it's never happened in the NBA, but it's happened 4 times in the NHL. It's happened once, obviously, in baseball with the Red Sox against the Yankees. If Boston wins tonight,
Boston better win tonight. They better win tonight.
what do you mean they better?
You better close this out tonight.
Yeah.
Who, Miami?
You mean Miami better win tonight?
Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miami better win this tonight.
Even though Game 6 would be in Miami, they would be filled with pressure because you know if you lose that game, there's no way you're going to Boston in Game 7 if you've blown a 3-0 lead.
Boston hasn't been great at home in the postseason.
Except in Game 7s.
So we'll see.
Listen,
Let's put it this way. I think Barkley said this, and I totally agree. Game 6 is Miami's Game 7. If they lose this tonight and they're going back home, that Game 6 is your Game 7.
If you both lose 3 in a row, you're not going to Boston and winning Game 7.
Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah, I think today it hurts them where you don't have Tyler Hero and some of these other dudes.
Well, Gabe Vincent's hurt. He's not playing.
No, Gabe Vincent. He's officially pulled out.
And that's another dude.
played
Where
well
the
for
hell
them.
you find this dude at?
They get all these guys.
Miami, as Jason alluded to, is the single best organization in the NBA at finding undrafted diamonds in the rough.
Well, them and
turning
San
them into
Antonio
players.
obviously has been great.
San
at that.
Antonio as well.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, next up, Cam Johnson of the Nets. He's a restricted free agent, so the Nets have a chance to match anything they do.
course.
He's going to get $20+ million. I don't think there's any shot in the world they can afford him.
He'd be a great fit here, but it's not happening.
Listen, I would reset the clock if they got him. This dude right here, 3-and-D, long, played a lot of years at care. Listen, man, this is why I don't like doing this. I'm sorry.
It's depressing, right?
It's just
You can't. All the guys you're excited about, you can't get, and all the guys you're like, You're like, well, we can get that guy.
This is just like going to the store with your mom and she lets you go in, but you say you can't ask for nothing.
Yo, that's the worst.
Don't ask for nothing.
Next.
I mean, the 3 I threw out there I thought were the 3 most reasonable of them. So sometimes.
Is that it?
No, we got 3 more.
Okay.
Next up is Josh Hart, who has a player option
he
for
would be
$13 million this year with New York. I can't foresee a scenario where he passes up $13 million in
He
a
shot
city he loves.
52% from 3?
He shot 1.3 threes per game this year. So he barely shoots.
Why doesn't he shoot more if he's making 52%?
I don't know.
He's wide open. I mean, they don't guard him because he's not a great shooter.
Well,
But
he's knocking half of them down. Hey, and he averages 12 rebounds on the Cavs. So
He'd be a great addition, but they can't get him, right?
No, I don't think that's realistic.
I mean, he's still 35% in his career from 3.
yeah, and like I said, he's got a $13 million player option this year, so it's up to him to either turn that down, enter free
So either
agency,
he's
or
going to
accept
pick
that.
up the option, or he's going to enter free agency and make more than that, which is something
Either way,
the
that's
Cavs
true.
can't afford.
Jason, man, you better start lying or something. Start lying to people, bro. Like, this is terrible, bro. Like,
Well, there's a reason these guys weren't on Mikey's original list. I thought Mike did a good job on the original list. And I still think DiVincenzo is probably the most realistic option of all the guys that.
All right, give us another couple of depressing options.
We got
the Cavs
3
can't
more.
sign.
How about the journeyman? Bring him back. Jeff
No,
Green.
no.
7.8, 30% shooter.
Jeff
He's
was
affordable.
Jeff
He's
was
definitely affordable.
He was old when he was here the first time. That was 5 years ago.
Ain't nobody want Morgan Freeman playing the 3. Like
He's played well this year. He's actually had a good year. I thought he was cooked.
Yeah.
Ty loved Jeff Green. Ty Lue loved Jeff. And, boy, he missed so many threes in that playoff series in 2018.
Sure did.
I thought he was washed then. I'm not interested in bringing him back.
And last but not least, we have kind of alluded to him in different ways with a potential Kyrie trade. If they re-sign Reaves to a max restricted free agency sheet, they cannot re-sign Rui Hachimura.
I'm down. I thought he played. Now, he didn't shoot the ball as well as he would have liked it in the Denver series, but he looked great at times this year. I'd take him in a heartbeat, would not think twice about it.
I like him. I thought at the time, I thought the Lakers sort of stole him from Washington for a second-round pick. It came real early before the deadline. It was a little surprising on the timing of it. I'm not sure why Washington was in such a hurry to make that deal. I like Hachimura. I don't know that
he is a restricted free agent, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Restricted, so anything that the team matched, they'd have to.
If he makes it to market, I don't know. I truly don't know what his value is. I don't know if he'd be in the 12 million range or if he'd be higher or less.
There you go.
But I like him. I like Hachimura.
Good segment.
It would be a pretty good fit. It would be a pretty good fit. All right, we're going to go to something that was voted our favorite game of the first year of UCSS next, and that is Keep Cut Trade. But first, I want to remind everybody that the Lunch Hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is sponsored by Kaulig Companies Championship, July 12th through 16th at the famous Firestone Country Club. You can check them out. All the information at CauligGolf.com. It is time for a little Keep Cut Trade NBA edition here, guys, and the first one involves a Cavs point guard and 2 other point guards throughout the league. Darius Garland, Ja Morant. What are you doing, Steve? Give me that back.
Bring him back.
No,
Jump the gun,
no,
Steve.
you went to the last one. You had it. Give me back. Nope, not that one. You're going back. Drop it.
Baby, drop back.
There we go. Nope, this is Keep Cut Trade. Sorry for the confusion on the back end here.
Yeah.
Steve is still learning who players are, so he didn't understand that was Darius Garland, Ja Morant, and Jamal Murray. But these 3, Keep Cut Trade, and I apologize for the future slip.
Oh.
How old is Murray? How old is Murray?
Not as old as you think.
This is tough.
He's 26.
I'm keeping Murray. I'm trading Garland. I'm cutting Morant.
I'm cutting Morant.
Yeah,
Morant.
I mean, I can't trust that guy. He's a little jack. They had to do a wellness check at his house yesterday, apparently.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
They did, and it was said he was fine. So we're praying for Ja.
I think I have to agree with you. I mean, Murray's had such a terrific postseason.
Yeah.
In Darius, we just haven't seen it out of him yet.
Let me see this.
How old is Murray? Can you tell me?
26.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue Garland over Murray. Murray's done it.
Yeah, Darius
Garland has it. I know he's younger, but not that younger.
Darius has a monster contract.
Yeah.
Would be good trade value there. Darius is younger. Yeah, I got to agree with Bull. Keep Murray, cut Ja, and trade Darius.
G?
And I didn't know Ja Morant averaged 26-6 in that.
He's a hell of a player, but he's just in a. I don't know.
Who knows what he's doing? I mean,
he's
making a lot of bad decisions.
I can't trade him at this point because I think I won't get my true value.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really cut him like that. I think the guy with the highest trade value, to be truthful, is Darius Garland. So what I'm gonna do is I'm trade Darius Garland. I'm gonna get me something back. I like Murray and what he's done in the playoffs, but he has come off injury. I can't get my value. I would have to keep Ja Morant and swallow it. And I cut Murray.
Wow.
All right, so we kind of botched the intro here. The caveat for the first 5, there's 1 Cavs player and 2 others, and the last 2 are just random NBA
I don't think
keep cut trades. So
we
just wanted to give the caveat. There's at least 1 Cav in the first 5.
That's all right.
As we go along.
All right, go ahead.
You ready for the shooting guard category?
Yeah.
You know
Donovan
what?
Mitchell.
I'm going to switch my answer.
Okay.
I'm going to keep Darius because I think Jamal Murray has higher trade value. You can get more back from him in trade. And I think
For real?
I think, yeah.
Darius?
He's done more. He's done. I don't know what Jamal's contract situation is, though. I don't know how many years he's got left.
Extra trade value is worth more
I think
than
Darius, because you can get more back in trade for him, and I think Darius can eventually get to the level Jamal's at.
Fair
now.
enough. So 3 different choices there. Go ahead.
All right, so now we'll get to the shooting guard edition here. It is Donovan Mitchell, Bradley Beal, and Anthony Edwards. Keep cut trade.
What is Beal's contract? What has he got? A year left?
2 years left, I believe.
Are we
years left.
considering contract? Wasn't really thinking about
I
contract.
think you kind of have to. That's the whole.
Well, I don't know. What about you, Mike? You think we should consider contract? Or
Beal is under contract for the next 4 seasons.
Oh, 4?
Yeah, he makes $57 million. Has a $57 million player option in 2026, 2027.
Jesus Lord.
All right, I'm keeping Anthony Edwards because I think he's that dude. I think he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trading Donovan, and I'm cutting Beal because you're not getting much for Beal with that contract.
G?
You're not getting back what Donovan could get.
I agree with Jason. I would have it the exact same way. Got to keep Edwards.
Yeah, reluctantly, I would say pretty much the same. Because Bradley Beal, is he 30 yet? 31?
Bradley Beal, I didn't realize how bad his contract is, but yes, he is. He's 29. He turns 30 next month.
Yeah, he done wrong. I keep Edwards, trade Donovan, and I got to cut, what's the name? Beal.
Yeah, his contract's rough. So we tried to do when we were making these, find comparable players at each position.
Oh, we see what you was doing.
Well, the small forward position for the Cavs was tough because the comparables for Isaac Okoro, there's just not a lot.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm actually
Can I
curious.
cut all three?
Hey, you gonna
I'm
put
not
this
curious
man
if you'll
in here?
recognize the other two people on this list,
Let's
but
see.
let's see it. Keep cut trade. Isaac Okoro, Corey Kispert, or Danny Advia.
I'm keeping Denny Advia because I need a fellow Jew on my team. He's the only Jew in the NBA, I think. And the other two guys I'm cutting because they suck.
Yeah, I'm cutting all three.
Jason's not Jewish. He doesn't need a Jew in his team.
Listen,
Kispert's a good shooter.
I'm trading all three of those for a cherry edible thong.
I didn't see that coming.
Oh, my God.
Out of here, bro. At least have some fun, bro. These boys, boy, I tell you what.
Mike, keep it moving now.
All right, we'll go to the next one. This one,
was
you will
terrible.
know all three.
Corey
How about the
Kispert.
power forward position with Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Karl Anthony Towns?
Come on. This is actually easy, too. Go ahead. Listen, I'm jumping the gun. You keep him Mobley. Listen, you trade Karl Anthony Towns and you cut Jaren Jackson. I don't care if you block shots in Memphis. And Karl Anthony Towns is probably one of the worst superstars in the league. He's one of the worst. I don't think you can win a game of badminton with him.
Bull?
I would keep Mobley, trade Jackson, and cut Karl Anthony Towns.
Dang, he think he worse than
No, I'm with Bull. Cat does not have a great reputation around the league.
Yeah.
In terms of locker room guy, and in terms, I think you get more. I would keep Mobley, and I think you get more for Jaren Jackson than you could.
Yeah.
I think, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you get more for Cat.
Dang, Cat. First of all, your name is a feline name. Your name is Cat. Not lion, not dog, not hyena. It's like Cat.
It's an untough nickname.
Yeah, it is, bro.
Yeah, not very tough.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, the center position. Our favorite Jared Allen, Myles Turner, and Nikola Vucevic. Keep cut trade.
Oh, man.
I'm keeping Turner, trading Vucevic, or however the hell you pronounce his name, and I'm cutting Allen.
I'm keeping Vucevic. I like his ability to stretch the floor. I think Jared Allen has way more trade value according to Jason than Myles Turner, and I'm cutting Myles Turner. Thoughts?
I don't know their contracts. What's Turner and Vooch's contracts?
Vooch is actually a free agent right now.
Oh.
Why can't we get him? Why wasn't he on the list for the Cavs to grab up?
They're looking for shooters, like wings.
And Myles Turner has exactly the same contract as $20 million a year.
Is Jarrett?
So is Jared Allen for 2 years. So 1 year fewer on his contract than Allen.
None of this excites me.
No.
I'll actually keep. I mean,
Myles Turner can shoot a little bit.
I don't know. I don't care. I don't care about this one. I can't get excited.
Hey, hold on.
My resting bitch face is back.
Get these, man. This is your trade.
Let's do the next one.
All right, well, the next one's 3 superstars. No Cavs involved in this one.
All right,
Steve,
good.
go to the next one. We have, just for fun, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, and Devin Booker. Keep cut trade.
Woo! Dang, bro. That bull. This
Jason,
is
do you hate
stupid.
this one too?
That's
Yeah,
good.
I hate
This
this one
is
for different
stupid.
reasons. I hate this one for different reasons.
This is crazy.
I'm
The question is, are we prisoner of the moment on this thing?
not keeping Lillard because he's the oldest.
Yeah.
And he has the worst. I think he got the worst contract in the NBA.
No.
Is he making more than Beal?
I mean, he's making a lot of money, but
Makes
I
a
would.
lot. I think it's the same.
But there's-
The Supermaxes are all the same.
There's a
essentially.
lot worse contracts.
I'm ignoring contract. Like it or not, I'm ignoring contract.
Ain't he 32 as well?
I think this one's really hard. Because I'm feeling down on Tatum right now in the moment. Like, he's been awful. I know he played better in game 4.
Booker was phenomenal.
Isn't Tatum just a taller version of Booker?
Less efficient.
And I love Dame. I love Stoudemire.
This is
Stoudemire.
hard. This one's hard.
Dame Lillard.
Actually,
Dame
Lillard. Where'd I come on? I kept wanting to say David Stoudemire.
Actually, this is very easy.
I love him so much I don't know his name.
So Jason Tatum is
Oh my
Jason
God.
Tatum is a defender. He's longer. He can do
Yeah.
some of the same things as Booker. I'm keeping Tatum. I'm going to actually trade Booker, and I'm cutting because
yeah, I
he's
guess
32.
you're right. I can't disagree with that. I'm cutting David Stoudemire too.
Yeah.
Penny Hardaway, he's gone while we're at it.
We get him up out of here, bro. Nick
Yeah.
Van Exel, we got to go.
I got to keep Book, I think, and I love Tatum. I
with you.
love
Dang.
Tatum. I keep him Book.
Dang, you picked the Celtics to win a title, Jason.
I know, but
So
I
you're trading Tatum.
trading Tatum and cutting
All right.
Lillard.
Go ahead.
And
But it's
one more
close.
just for
It's
fun.
close.
This is the big man edition equivalent of what we just did on the wing. How about Bam Adebayo, Sabonis, and Pascal Siakam?
I'm keeping Sabonis. I really like Sabonis. I'm really high on
It's
Domas.
a bonus if you keep Sabonis.
Nah.
I'm high on Domas.
You know what? Man.
I'm keeping Domas, trading Bam, and cutting Siakam.
Siakam should have been Siakam should have been the next dude up. When they won, Siakam was unguardable. Then he got hurt a little bit. Then it's like, but here's what I'm gonna say. Now that they've unlocked Bam Adebayo's handles badge for $49.99 on your mother's credit card on NBA 2K, I'm going to use a Bam Adebayo as I'm keeping him. I'm going to trade. Dang, I can't believe I'm cutting Siakam. I'll cut Siakam and I'm gonna trade old boy.
I'm with G.
Sabonis.
Bush. I'm keeping Bam. I'm trading Sabonis, and I'm cutting Siakam.
By the way, can we get him? Can we trade for Siakam? I think they give him up. They got Scotty Barnes. They keep missing the playoffs.
I don't know. Toronto's in a really weird spot with a new
Weird.
coach. I don't know which direction they want to go.
I feel like you need to make one of these up for like the fans, like we do. Cam in Canada, Eddie, and who would be the third one?
We don't know.
Lawrence Goggins, maybe, who tweets at us a lot.
All the
Earl's not
That's
here
funny.
today, so we'll workshop that. I'm not killing any fans. We love them all. So we'll work on that.
It's
but
funny.
No, I know.
I mean, we did ourselves that one time.
Everybody
was
killed
fun.
me. That was great.
But do we ask the fans to vote on them? Do we ask the audience to vote on the audience?
Yeah. Well,
Well, but that's not like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's an inside joke. And then
did we do a poll? I thought it was just internally. Did we ask them?
I think we
the
did
three
do
of
a
us.
poll.
I mean, they're going to keep G, of course, and I'm
Yeah,
probably going to
he's
get
dead.
killed.
That's not.
I'm probably going to get killed.
I think I got cut or traded or something. I got traded.
We could do that.
Throw it up.
We'll
Yeah.
bring it back at some point. We're gonna do one thing real quick that is half Browns, half Guardians, and we'll talk Guardians full. But over the last 2 nights, we've seen 2 Guardians players throw out the first pitch. 2 Browns players, throw
Yeah.
out the first pitch at Guardians games. We graded each of their first pitches, so we're gonna see Greg Newsome's first. Steve, you can take tagboard full. Anthony can play the pitch, and then we'll go through the grades. But Greg Newsome and Bull, do you want to do a little play-by-play for us?
All right, Newsome on the hill. He's not on the mound for some reason. This would be an illegal pitch.
He has
in a
the
Major League Baseball
Concord
game.
Jordans on as well.
He's
Low.
checking out the catcher, looks in for the sign. Still staring. He's not happy with the sign right now. Steps back to the rubber. Sets for the pitch. He winds. He fires. Oh, way outside. A great play by the catcher. I can't tell who that is who caught the pitch.
Here's a slow-mo.
And that was, he hurt his arm. He's coming off the field.
He's complaining, injured.
Yeah.
This is the picture of the catcher.
Wait,
by
don't
the way.
show. Oh, this is from a different angle. Okay.
That is not a video,
Funny
just
if
a
he hit
picture.
the mustard in the
That
ball.
is like Charlie Sheen in Major League taking the head off the piece that's in the batter's box. That was awful.
Yeah, I actually gave it a C because he's,
We'll go through the grades in 1 second.
I think that's average for a first pitch thrower, no?
We'll go through it in a minute.
Okay.
So here's Thornhill's. In case anyone missed that, I just want everyone to be on the same page as we're going through
Juan
grades.
Thornhill firing up the crowd, saying, "Hey, we're going to win every game. You should expect that, Browns fans.
Don't boo us. Don't boo me. Cheer us."
He's got some good-looking pants. He steps up to the hill.
He's on the rubber.
He got the bust down chain on.
He's got a good look, and he's standing there like a pitcher. He sets, he winds, he fires. That's over. Strike one.
Caught the edge.
That ball had some movement on it. It's some downward spin right there.
Hey, why Thornhill trying to come into town and take stuff over? He just kicking ass and taking names. He throwing out the first pitch. It be strikes. He called Adam the Bull out the first week he got here. He got a chain on right now and graffiti pants.
Yeah.
This dude is outrageous.
I love it.
Anthony Walker is throwing out the first pitch on Saturday.
Yeah.
So we asked you guys to
that was a
grade
good
the
pitch.
two.
It was.
We asked you guys to grade the 2 pitches we saw, and then we'll talk about our prediction for Anthony Walker. But Jason, here's your report card first. Steve, you want to take 229 full here. Jason, you gave Newsome a D-, Thornhill an A-. Watching it back, do you agree with your own grade?
Newsome ear-holed someone. He had to kill the man if he was in the batter's box. I'll give him credit. The only reason it's not enough is because at least he threw it from the mound. So he got up on the mound. He had a little bit of smoke on it. So I was going to give him an F+, but I'll give him a D- because at least he had the courage to throw it from the rubber. Thornhill, A-. That's a strike, man. Caught the edge. Needs to work on his delivery a little bit. He's going to hurt himself throwing like that too often. But he certainly gets a passing grade. Greg Newsome, nah, man. Like I said, if you were Ricky Vaughn in Major League, you'd have taken the head off that thing in the batter's box.
Jason, right when they sent me and I was looking at it, you didn't tell me about this. There was a time when Albert Bell played for the Orioles and somebody threw at him and Albert Bell refused to go to first base.
I know why.
He said, what the heck was going on with that?
I thought it was Chicago. Was it Baltimore? Was it?
It was an Orioles.
He got hit by the pitch and he wouldn't take his base.
He wouldn't, and they had to come. This coach, the manager, had to come out and be like, "Dog, you got to." He said, "No, I want him back."
Yeah, I really got to finish the story. Get it to run. I did that interview a long time ago. That's on me that hasn't run yet. He said that he hit 3 home runs that day, and he wanted to be one of the guys to hit 4, and he was mad that he wanted to hit. He wanted to try and get a 4th home run. He was mad they hit him.
Now, do you have a choice in that?
No.
Okay.
That's why.
I was
they're like, bro, you got to go, man. You got to go. He's like, I don't want to go.
People was confused. You know how baseball got weird rules where it's like, okay, well, somebody, can you look this up? Because we haven't. Can you opt out of the first base walk, or what was? He's like, no.
You have to walk if you get 4 pitches. You have to take the base if you get hit.
Yeah. So I saw
non-negotiable.
I saw that when right after that happened. I don't know why it popped up, but the Orioles back in the day had these black uniforms. I don't know what the heck they was, but you need to bring them back to Orioles. So G. Bush, let's go ahead and get to it. I gave Greg Newsome the C. At least it didn't dribble to the mound. The guy caught it. I was gonna give him a C-. His windup was kind of strange. And I was with Bull a little bit. I was wondering whether or not he thought this was T-ball because he was halfway to the pitcher's mound. I'm like, no. You got to go to the rubber, dog. So somebody must have told him in his earpiece.
That's right.
Back up a little bit. Thornhill's, like I said, A-, bro. Listen, he threw a nice pitch. He came out there with some attire. Like I told you, Juan Nizzle, he's out here doing his thing. And Barstool even picked it up. How fast you think that was going? About 70, 62?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's impossible to get a gauge.
Probably around 70, maybe 60s.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you that.
75.
I'll give you that,
Nah,
Juan.
probably not.
Juan, you didn't have the best
That was
week
good.
ever.
All right, I'll show you mine. If you show me yours.
Oh, boy.
Pause.
I gave Greg Newsome a C. I gave Juan Thornhill an A+, man.
Oh, man.
And first of all, I know they're professional athletes, but they're not baseball players. It's a completely different type of skill. And I'm comparing it to the average person that throws out a first pitch. Juan Thornhill threw it fairly hard for a regular person. And again, I know he's an athlete. Maybe I should grade him a little harsher than a regular person, but he's not a baseball player. And he threw it hard. He threw a strike. I mean, how often do guys throw a strike from the mound that's throwing a first pitch? So that's an A+ to me. And I thought Greg Newsome, it wasn't a good throw, but compared to the average person, I thought it was basically average. It probably could have been a C-. Maybe it's a little below average.
He put some smoke on that, too, if he takes a little off it.
Right. But he did throw it hard. It was okay. I mean, we've seen some really bad. The Jesse Owens one, the mayor of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
50 Cent.
Oh,
50 Cent.
Listen, 50
Yeah.
Cent.
We had one earlier
God.
this year with the Guardians. Who was
Yeah.
it? There was a bad that
Kelsey.
Bieber was catching.
Right. Yeah. I don't
Was it
remember.
Kelsey?
Yeah, Kelsey.
Was it
Right.
Travis
Kelsey was terrible. Gary Delabate from the Howard Stern Show, Bob Bowie, once did a terrible one at Shea Stadium, or maybe Citi Field. I don't remember who it was, but
Yeah, that's
I don't
trash.
know.
Yeah.
So,
And with that,
yeah.
and G, you said the word trash. I hate to use the word trash as a way to
By
describe.
the way, I just thought of this for a second. Did you see? Remember the mayor of Cincinnati put his foot in his mouth last year in the
Yeah.
Bengals Chiefs
Yes.
game? Did you see? Remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the schedule reveal videos that the teams did. Mm-hmm. Did you see in the Bengals one, the mayor of Cincinnati in that one?
No.
So they have him saying, and in week whatever, I can't remember, I think it was week 17, the Bengals play the Chiefs. And that's all I've got to say. I thought
pretty
that was
good.
funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's pretty good.
The Guardians lost again yesterday.
Ugh.
Shut out 6-0. It's ugly. And
Yeah.
we're approaching the point of the season, which Jason's alluded to many times. Memorial Day is when I'm speaking for Jason,
Yeah.
officially declares,
Well, it's the
all right,
1/3 point of the year.
it's
It's a
do
good
or die
chunk of
time.
games.
It's when you know what you have. By that point, you got a pretty good feel of who you are.
Yeah. They're a bad baseball team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's flat out. They're a bad baseball
Yeah.
team. If they were in the East or the West, the season would be over right now.
Yeah, and I think we need to gauge it on that and
Yeah.
not the trash around them. You need to gauge it on
Right.
what are we really? Who are
Right,
we?
because
What are we?
Could they still make the playoffs? Yes. I actually still think they're going to, as bad as they are, I still think they have a good chance to win the division. But the team right now, they can't win in the playoffs.
Oh, no.
They cannot
Oh,
win in the playoffs,
oh,
even
no.
if they make it. And I mean, you got Tampa Bay's playing great baseball. The Yankees are playing really well right now. Everybody in the East is at least solid. The Texas Rangers,
Yeah.
they have a better run differential than Tampa.
And Tampa.
And DeGrom hasn't even played.
I mean, Tampa. It was the 20-1 game that threw everything off. That one game.
yes.
So they got hammered by Toronto 20-1 and
Right.
it screwed up their run differential.
But still,
But
the
Texas
point
has
is
been
Texas
great,
is playing great.
and DeGrom's
without
been hurt.
DeGrom.
Right.
Right? We know the Astros are good. The Angels are playing decent baseball. I mean, there's only one team from the Central going to the playoffs. That team is unlikely to do anything unless one of these teams makes additions or the Guardians are just flat out bad baseball team at the moment. Doesn't mean they're going to be all year, but right now they suck.
Yeah.
We're 5 games away from the 1/3 point of the season.
When you can't hit like that, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
It's hard to watch. They're hard
can't-
to watch.
There's nothing to see. Like, there's not hard hit balls. There's not a lot of different things. And like you said, I liked what Jason just spoke to earlier. He said, you got to compare these dudes with the good teams.
That's right.
Not who's in your division. And I
Right.
think sometimes we kind of lean on that a little bit. Well, it's the Central, it's early.
Right.
We can hang around. But really, are you contenders? Because when you get in the playoffs, you got to be doing something. These guys is not going to be nowhere in the mix. And there's only going to be one team from the Central, and they're not going to make no noise.
Yeah.
They're 7 games under 500 for the first time since 2015.
That's a long time ago.
It was a long time, and that was the Swisher-born year when they had to just sort of blow everything up at midseason. And I think we're headed there. And it's not just like everyone's been clamoring for Bo Naylor. Bo Naylor isn't going to save the season.
No.
But it's a combination of things. Like we're at the point where Tito's not going to do this. I really think it's time to move on from Ahmed Rosario.
Yep.
And put Gabriel Arias at shortstop every day.
Yeah.
Move on from Mike Zunino.
Yep.
And put Bo Naylor behind the plate.
Yes.
Figure out right field. Do something with, I wish it could be George Valera, but he's not ready. But maybe you just put Will Brennan out there and just leave him out there and let him play every day and see what you do. It's not just one minor tweak that you need. I think you need to make a couple of major jolts to this team to try and snap them out of this.
And listen, I agree with everything you're saying and everything you just said there. Here's the bottom line. This team has done nothing in free agency and trades of significance in a number of years now.
Yeah.
Right? And we were complaining about it, and then they had a great season last year. And because of that, And I think we overestimated their ability to repeat what they did last year.
Yeah.
Because what they did last year, in reality, was not sustainable. To have that much success from that many young players is not a sustainable way to win. But you thought, okay, the bullpen's so good and the rotation's so good that they'll be fine. But those things haven't. The rotation's been good, but not great, and the bullpen's been awful. So it's all falling apart here. Now, again, we do have a long season, and they might turn it around. But right now, there's very little reason to believe offensively they can turn anything around. They're only free agent additions. Bell's been
Bell's been terrible.
Well, he's been since the terrible start.
He's been terrible. Overall,
he's been terrible. Fair. Okay, Zunino's useless. You're getting nothing out of right. None of the young players, like they had all these young players. Gonzalez is back in the minors. Brennan's done nothing. Quan's been okay. But not great. You know, Rosario has been terrible. Jimenez signs the big contract. He's been terrible. So who's producing? Naylor's been okay. Miles Straw stinks. That was a bad contract at the time. Everybody complained that I said it was a bad contract. Everybody went bananas for his defense. Everybody went bananas because he hit in spring training. He stinks.
Well, he stinks offensively, but you got a Gold Glover for $5 million. Jason, I don't think that's terrible. You were paying Hedges $6 million.
Well, they shouldn't have been doing that either. In 2023, you can't have a player that can't hit. Unless the rest of the lineup's great.
And we agreed on that. Yeah. I think you can carry Myles Straw as a Gold Glove center fielder, one of the most important positions, at $5 million. That's not a lot of money in today's game.
But you don't want to not, like, this is not catcher. You don't want a non-hitting outfielder playing every day.
I think it's not so much the young players that haven't worked out for me. It's the big dollar investments that they've made that have let them down. Because how much different does this lineup look if Josh Bell is playing the way we thought, Zunino's having a decent, not a great, just a decent year, and Andres Jimenez is playing the way he did last year? This whole lineup looks different. I put it more on the big dollar investments that they made that haven't panned out. And the Josh Bell thing is scary because he's got a player option. Yeah. And if he didn't get it turned around, this is now a 2-year albatross.
That's true.
For a team that can't afford it.
So far, it's looked bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to kill him for it now because, again, I liked it at the time.
Yeah.
But I think we need to call the Zunino thing what it is. It was a $6 million mistake. It was a gamble. They didn't do it. And the fact that they've missed on these guys, that they've invested big dollars. And Jimenez is not a miss to me.
It's too early.
He just hasn't played well.
Yeah.
But Bell is looking like a miss, and Zunino is for sure a miss.
And they've spent too many years. Like we've talked about all this prospect depth. They haven't used it to go out and get proven players. Yeah. And they've missed opportunities
here. And if they are not going to go get proven players, all the young dudes should be playing. I want to see Arias. I don't want to see Rosario no more.
And Tyler Freeman. Let's see him play.
Can I see him? And you moved Quan to center field. And listen, Gonzalez, you're going to figure it out up here. Go over there right field.
He's not even playing well at AAA, though. Like, they can't – the whole move Quan to center, they can't even figure out right field, let alone right field and left field.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of – I would rather have – if I know Straw can't hit, and I know Gonzalez is struggling at this point, but at least I could put Will Brennan and get them some at-bats every day. If Brennan could get at-bats –
Brennan is playing, but he's not playing well. The thing is, like, the guys who were the top prospects, those guys have to play. And that's Arias, that's Freeman. We got to see – and Naylor. We got to see those guys play.
Where's this Valera's cat? Where's he at? What is he doing?
He's coming back from a hand.
Okay.
When you signed Jimenez long-term, which I was all for it. I advocated for it. I wrote a whole column on it, and I still think I'm glad they made the deal. I still think he's going to be okay.
I agree.
You don't go from 7 WAR to not being able to hit.
No.
Like, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But once you committed to him, you no longer have room for Tyler Freeman, Gabriel Arias.
Well, then trade him and get some outfielders.
Agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And I think their inability to make a trade is what's got this whole thing clogged. And I don't know this. Spitballing. I think when they've trying to make trades for Sean Murphy or for Matt Olson or whatever, teams are asking for Gavin Williams, Espino, and Bybee. And I think they were hesitant to move on from those guys, so they keep hitting the roadblock. If we can't get this, then we're not going to deal with it. I think,
Jason, I get it. People want those guys. You got to give up something to get something.
I totally agree.
Right? And, you can't just sit on this trove of prospects, some of which you're overrating. Most of their hitting prospects for the last decade have not panned out.
I think that they would be happy to move on from Rocchio for the right. They'd include Rocchio in the right deal. I think they'd include Freeman in the right deal. Probably even include Valera in the right deal. I don't know this.
Yeah.
I think they didn't want to touch those 3 pitching and that is what I think has been an impediment to making
maybe
deals.
so, but I find it impossible to believe that there aren't teams interested in some of these hitting
Sure,
guys.
but what are you going to get?
Well, you got to do something. You got to have some proven players.
But if you're not going to get Sean Murphy, if you don't include one of those three guys, if Oakland is adamant saying you have to include
then
one of these guys,
include one of those guys. Let's go. You can't have these holes in the lineup. You can't keep stopgapping in all these positions.
Throw Bieber in with one of them. Like.
I think
Oakland's not looking for Shane Bieber.
I think Shane's going to be dealt this year, but I think there's no point in moving him now. Like, you have to wait.
No, he's got to turn it around.
Well,
I mean, he pitched better his last start.
He's going to be the best starter on the market, so you just want to let the demand increase with him. You don't move him now.
You trade him right at the deadline.
I would look for a Rosario move right now. Even if you don't get anything for him, you're not going to get much for him. I would look for a Rosario move right now. And just to clear the spot to get Arias at short, DFA Zunino, eat the $6 million. It kills teams like
already.
this.
Get Bo Naylor up here.
But
Let's go.
If you're going to have a chance at turning this around, it has to be a dramatic shakeup. It can't just be one move on the same day. Zunino DFA'd.
Rosario.
Thank you. Rosario traded.
Yeah.
Make these moves. Get these guys in here.
Yeah, they need to be aggressive.
And it's your chance. It's your one chance to sort of flip this thing.
This is a great front office. Doesn't mean you're immune to criticism. They've been a little too passive, I think. They got to be more aggressive. I know they're hamstrung by the owner and the payroll. That's not. There's nothing they can do about that. But we can't keep stopgap choices. Now, you and I both like the Bell signing. It's been a disaster. I said he's been. You're right. It's been a disaster so far. I thought he hit 30 home runs for them. He's done nothing. They had no power last year. They're worse this year. They have what, 25 home runs as a team?
Ish.
I'll tell you in a sec, they've scored fewer runs.
Have you ever heard?
I think they've had 28 home runs. Last I looked, I think they had 28, and 17 of them were solo shots.
Okay. Has any of you guys heard of Christopher Morel? Christopher Morel. Do we know who he is?
No.
They have 30 home runs as a team.
30. Okay.
Do you know Christopher Morel? Have you heard of him, Mike? Has anybody here heard of Christopher Morel?
No.
I don't think so.
Only because I know where you're going with this. But
All right. He's a kid the Cubs. Now, I'm not complimenting the Cubs. It just happens to be the example because they've been their ass too, and they have a higher payroll in their ass. But the Cubs called this guy up 2 weeks ago. He's got 9 home runs.
Shut up.
He's got 9 home runs.
Shut your mouth.
The Guardians have 28 home runs in the season.
The Guardians have 30 this year. Pete Alonso has 18 by himself.
Oh, Pete Alonso's up to 18?
18.
Oh, my God.
See, this.
I mean, that's just crazy.
By the way, I apologize to the people. We were foolhardy. We thought that you was going to steal these bases and you was going to play this small ball and bunt people.
You can't do that if you don't get on base. They're not getting on base.
They ain't on base. They're not hitting the ball hard, and you cannot win when you're not. The 3-run home run is the great equalizer. Can you imagine in basketball if you just took mid-range jumpers and shot no threes? You get blown out. Like
right now, you already have in right field, in center field, and in catcher. You don't have a legit major league starter. Myles Straw's not a legit major league starter. Neither is Will Brennan, and neither is the catching situation.
But they don't even have traditional power positions.
Right. So, but you already have 3 spots where you don't have a legit major league starter. You got no power all over the place except for third base. Your shortstop's been awful. Your second baseman's been awful. Your first baseman / DH Naylor cannot hit lefties.
And by the way, don't look at Owen Miller's numbers in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he's done a nice job.
Batting .340, OPS over 900.
Yeah. They just gave him away. They gave away
but
him.
It goes back to the 40-man roster
That's right.
jam.
They gave away. And I don't know if the rest of these guys are going to pan out. And Owen Miller's a small sample size, but they gave him away. They gave Will Benson away. He's been terrible so far in Cincinnati. It's a very small sample size. You gave away, what's his name? Nolan Jones, too. Like, you had to give those guys away. At one point, those guys were all decent prospects, especially Nolan Jones and Will Benson.
Well, the guy that got back for Nolan could be something, but he's a really low A guy. He's a ball shortstop.
Right, but at one point, Nolan Jones was the best prospect in your system, and you essentially gave away.
You had to restart that whole process.
Exactly, and we can't keep doing this. They've got to get proven major league players.
Agreed.
That's the thing.
I agree.
Hey, you know what's intoxicating? Unbridled future. When you look over the horizon and you see, oh, we could be this. We can have look at all this potential. Man, potential get you fired, bro. Like if these guys don't do nothing. And slowly but surely, we talked about it the whole time. Jose Ramirez is getting older and older and older.
Man, he's still not.
But here's what I'm saying. We talk about it with the Browns all the time. We're wasting Myles Garrett's prime. We're wasting Nick Chubb's prime. Obviously, Jose Ramirez has been a great player for the Guardians for a lot of years.
Yeah.
We take for granted that he's going to be at this level forever.
Yeah, but I would not put them anywhere near each other in categories because the Guardians, I wouldn't say have wasted Jose's years. He went to a World Series.
Right.
They're a postseason contender.
No, there's no
every
comparison.
year.
But the point is, if you don't put better talent around him soon, then the rest of his career could get wasted. Now, the Guardians are never going to stay bad, unlike the Browns. Hopefully the Browns won't stay bad anymore. Obviously, the Guardians are a much better run organization than the Browns.
Yes,
there's no comparison from that standpoint. But right now, it's like it's ugly, and we've been talking about the hitting. The bullpen's been awful. It's been awful, and the rotation's been up and down. Bieber's, you look at his numbers; they're pretty good, but he's not dominant.
No.
Right? Quantrill's been pretty bad. Allen's been mostly good. A couple bad starts. He's a young pitcher. He's been good. Bibby's been excellent for the most part.
Rough bumps are coming, though, for Bibby.
The young pitchers are going to have ups and downs.
Sure.
McKenzie's getting close to coming back. Savali.
That'll be a boost.
Listen, the rotation's fine. It's good enough. But the lineup's just awful. It's just it's horrible.
They're putting out one of the most anemic offenses ever.
And it should be better, obviously, especially Jimenez. And
I'm putting it on those three. I'm putting it on. Quan's been fine. He's fine, And he had a terrible May last year.
Better than but
Quan's not holding this team back.
No.
Right field has been a disappointment, yes. Brennan hasn't hit Gonzalez in the minors, yes. But I'm telling
you. As much as I don't like Straw, he is what he is. You knew what you would get for him.
I'm fine with the $5 million Gold Glover. I'm fine with that. But the three guys that they invested big dollars in, Jimenez, Bell, and Zunino, I really feel is why they are in this position because they have not gotten the return on investment on those three guys.
Agreed. I disagree with you on the Straw thing because the bottom line to me is most center fielders are very good defensively.
Yeah.
So I could get a guy who's a little worse than him in center field that's a much better hitter. I understand what you're saying. He's not an everyday player to me. Whatever he's getting paid.
In the right lineup, I think he is.
Yeah. If you have a lineup that's awesome and he's your ninth guy, fine.
And again,
if he started for the Yankees.
But they don't have that.
But again, if Zunino, Jimenez, and Bell were putting up the numbers worthy of the money that they gave them last winter, you'd feel a lot differently about Straw batting ninth.
But again, you knew they weren't going to have a great lineup.
Straw's doing exactly what you knew he was going to. It's the other three that have been
huge
disappointments.
If Straw was playing for Tampa, fine. I don't care that he's playing every day because the other 8 guys can hit, but they don't have that. And so it hurts because you get no production out of him. You get nothing out of catcher. Again, just like last year, you have 3 spots in the lineup with no production. And that's not even including Bell, Jimenez, and Rosario who have given you no production, even though you're expecting more.
But you guys would know this better than me. But are they really putting emphasis on, organizational emphasis on, we want to develop hitters? That's what we're going to do. We've been lacking. We found good defensive players. We found guys that hustle. We found guys that are pitchers. We found pitchers galore. We're going to put an emphasis on finding guys.
They have generally not done a good job of developing hitters.
Yeah, that's been a blind spot. They've been terrific at pitching, hitting not so much. Jose's internal. He was a homegrown guy. Quan was a homegrown guy. But for the most part, Jimenez was a trade. Naylor was a trade. Since the 90s, really, since the power lineups of the 90s.
Think about some of their top hitting prospects. Zimmer, bust.
Yeah.
Clint Frazier, bust. You look at the,
Lenny Chisenhall, bust.
Right. Nolan Jones, we'll see if he's any good.
Yeah.
Benson, we'll see if he's any good. So far, way too
Matt
early to tell those guys. They traded for him.
That was a trade.
Yeah, they thought he was going to be good, but they haven't done a good job of, and a lot of their prospects have been hyped. And that's why I would trade him because I don't know if these guys can be any good.
Right.
They have, let's go. Let's get moving here. I agree with you. Trade Rosario now. He did a good job last year.
You're not going to get anything for him.
No.
You're going to get a high A infielder or a middling reliever. But it's just the matter of you can't DFA him because I think it would piss off the locker room because of how he is felt and viewed in there. I don't think you can DFA him.
They need to piss off the locker room. They're playing like a bunch of wimps right now.
Well, but I think if you just need to trade him.
Yeah.
Just trade him.
They got Baltimore.
I'm sick of them trading for minor leaguers.
They got Baltimore and St. Louis coming up. St. Louis first, then Baltimore. The next two series.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, Baltimore and St. Louis, you said?
Yeah.
St. Louis has righted the ship as I thought
road.
they would eventually.
Baltimore's been great. Baltimore's bullpen is
fantastic.
dynamite.
Hey, it could get real ugly. You said.
Well, in this division, it won't get real ugly. I think they'll be hanging around all along.
my tweet yesterday? The record of the AL Central teams in games not when they're not playing each other.
No, Lord, no.
Let me bring up
it
this
right
tweet
here.
real
Hold
quick
on a
before the
sec.
end of the show.
They are 60, according to Adam the Bull.
Yeah.
The 5 AL Central teams are combined 65 and 104 in games
Now,
against
well,
teams in the
there
other
was
5
one, and it's now 66 at 104 because the Twins beat the Giants yesterday. 66 and 104. That's 38 games under 500 against non-AL Central teams.
unbelievable.
Every team in this division is under 500 against teams not in the
division.
And by the way, that includes the NL Central, which is almost as bad as the AL. Not quite as bad, but almost as bad as the AL Central. I should figure out these 5 teams' records against teams only in the East and West America.
Well, I was going to say, if the Guardians were in the East, how far out would they be? It'd probably be 15 games.
Yeah.
15 games.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
probably
Blue
be
Jays are
15,
2 games over 500. They're 9.5 back, so they'd be 16.5 games back.
16 and a half.
We got 20 seconds, which is almost as many games as the Guardians would be back if they were in the AL Central.
Gee, man, Christmas.
Yeah.
Hey, be thankful. Thankful. Hey, I waited to Memorial Day.
We'll see you on overtime. Talk about that bum Kyrie next.